Welcome to another one-shot review brought to you by the students of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm Mikey, and joining me today are Yooni, Dan, Alec, and Chris Valera, and we are back at it again with another one-shot review, and we're going to be talking about the latest Marvel Studios film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So yeah, thank y'all for joining me today. This is probably going to be a very fun and long conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. Shang-Chi Legend of the Ten Rings came out when? I think
2 to 3 days ago.
Friday, I believe was the day it came out. Shang-Chi, directed by Daniel Destin. Yeah, yesterday. So I also saw it Saturday, I believe. And Shang-Chi Legend of the Ten Rings, one of the latest movies in Phase 4 after Black Widow. Directed by Daniel Destin Cretton and starring Simu Liu.
It's Destin Daniel Cretton.
Daniel Cretton, and starring Simu Liu, Awkwafina, Ling Chiu-Wei, and a bunch of other people. And we're gonna get right into it, people. We're gonna get right into it. So obviously, the first thing I'm going to talk about. What are your first impressions of the film? What were your thoughts going into this movie? We'll start with Shang-Chi himself, Dan, because Dan loves to cosplay as his character.
All right, first impressions. Before getting into this movie, I was very looking forward to this. I was also hyping this up, besides with my Shang-Chi cosplay. Also, I've been noticing, I don't know if it's just me, but before going into this movie, I noticed that Marvel themselves haven't really been promoting this movie a lot, besides the main actor Simu Liu has done. Mm-hmm. So I figured, on the week before, throughout the weeks counted by, I been doing a little self-promoting to get everybody hyped up for this movie as much as I am hyped up for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie means so much to me. It means so much to Yooni and everybody else in the Asian community and the Asian American community, and also in Simu's point of view, the Asian Canadian community as well.
Mm-hmm. Word. All right, Yooni? You have to go second, obviously.
I'm not called Shang-Chi. How dare you? No, yeah, I was also looking forward to this. Part of me was a little skeptical because I've seen the other Hollywood attempts at martial arts films before, so it's cautiously optimistic. Worst case scenario, it's all right. Best case scenario, it's fantastic. Not that I doubt it, but anything's possible. So I still wanted to see it, tried to promote it as best I could. I also tried to get something like a cosplay ready, but I could not get mine done in time. But whatever. I'll have it done sooner or later. But yeah, I also didn't know what to expect. Crossing my fingers, really hoping this would be good.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, you can go.
I would have to agree with Yooni there. I was a bit skeptical with it. This was because for me the trailer, something was missing from the trailers that I saw. There's usually some sort of hook that gets me okay, I'm going to go see this now. I was also very cautious about it too, because I think it was also kind of ruined because I was watching the Grandmaster, like you said, and that's a discussion for another time. But I was very okay, they haven't really messed up before, and if they did, it was Black Widow with the story, but they haven't really messed up anything yet. So I'm going in here, but I'm going to be paying attention to make sure this is a good movie. I'm going to be paying attention. And it didn't disappoint. I'd say it didn't disappoint.
All right, Alec.
My first impressions going in, I'm going to be honest, I kind of went into this movie kind of blind. I think a lot of people did too, because the character of this movie is someone who most audiences don't know about, especially the film going as audiences, especially casual MCU film watchers. Yeah. And that was always a big gamble, but that's something that the Marvel is aware about, and that's something they take into account, I feel. So with having to go into Phase 4, it's because I see Phase 4 a lot as new beginnings, especially with a event like Endgame was. Now it's the introduction of new characters who most audiences don't know about. And with this character, and the whole movie as a whole, it was a gamble of going in to seeing how well people would go into it. So me, I kind of went in blind, not knowing much about the character. But after seeing it, I was very satisfied. So I kind of went in blind. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yes, I'll go. So like for me, I had like high hopes for this movie. Going into it, I was a bit nervous because I was like, I don't want another like Mulan situation. But then I actually like saw who was behind the production, all that stuff, and that gave me like a lot more confidence in this movie succeeding. I wasn't familiar with I wasn't familiar with Simu Liu's work at the time. I wasn't familiar with Tony Leung's work as well. But I was still open to it. And the thing is, like, when this movie was announced, I was like, dude, like Shang-Chi, because I knew the character mostly through my research with like growing up, like reading Iron Fist, and I thought the character was cool, but like I didn't really think he was gonna ever have his own movie one day. I thought, hypothetically, throw back to Marvel Netflix, like I thought he was gonna get his own like Netflix spin-off because again he was a part of Heroes for Hire at that time in the comics from when I started looking into the character. But then I was like, okay, a Shang-Chi movie, like that sounds pretty tough. They better not fuck it up. And being a fan of martial arts movies, I'm definitely going to tell if they're gonna fuck it up or not. But I watched it and I was quite surprised and extremely impressed. And we're definitely gonna be going into that as well. So yeah, I a little high hopes, but a little nervous. Those were my first impressions. But anyone else have anything else to add? So before we talk about what we liked,
let's get to it.
I don't know if this is going to be one of the next topics, but like Simu Liu, he was definitely perfectly cast.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and I know that a lot of people don't know like any of like his works before, but looking back, he has come a long way from like a show he did on CBC, Kim's Convenience, which the entire series is now on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you definitely got to check it out.
That was what I used as a base to like get to know what Simu Liu's like acting was like, because I didn't even know what Kim's Convenience was until a friend told me about it. So I watched it. I was like, this is pretty good. So like, hopefully, if you can add his humor to Shang-Chi, it's gonna be worth watching. But so thanks Dan for that. But so we're gonna talk about what we liked of the film. I'd say in terms of like you can talk about in terms of like story and all that stuff, or like pacing, cinematography, all that stuff. And that's what I would say we should talk about. So who would wanna go first? What they liked about the film? Because we're gonna talk about characters and stuff and all that stuff and later. So
word.
Yeah. So Alec, you wanna go? Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll kind of make it quick. Some stuff I liked. First of all, I liked how the story was, for the most part, self-contained. It was largely self-contained, I feel. Aside from the stinger, it's the end credits stuff. You don't really have to see the past movies to understand it, which I felt for most audiences having to go in blind. It wasn't overwhelming in any way. I felt the story. It wasn't complex. It was simple. It's in a good way, and it's in a very good way. It's easy to follow. The action, I think we can all agree. The action was something new that Marvel, something that the crew and studio knew going in, that they had to focus on that, and that was great action. I felt. Especially the bus scene. It's the one camera take. It's from the windows of a POV. It was it's seeing but through the window, and I liked how of how Marvel started to dive into more of fantasy, of how it's something I talked about like before. It's on past things, but I like how Marvel is shifting from science fiction to fantasy, and the land of it's Talao.
Yeah.
It was a fantasy setting. It's a parallel dimension with dragons and Lovecraftian-esque creatures, I guess. It's very unique animals, and it gets me excited for Blade with vampires coming out, because if Marvel can do dragons and soul-sucking demons, then they can do whatever, and most audiences are gonna like that. So I enjoyed the character building, the world building. I just like how Marvel is expanding the universe. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's actually a good point in terms of Blade. So yeah. Sorry, you were saying something?
No, I was just
okay.
Just talking about it real quick.
I'll say real quick. I was very impressed that like this movie with like in like the span of like 20 minutes hooked you immediately just because of how well there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this film that like is meant to purposely like keep you interested, which I appreciated. But just but it also like pacing also wasn't an issue because that could have been a detriment to the how the movie was paced, but it was very well paced with the amount of how dense the movie was. And again, like it's as to add what Alex said, it's a very like it's you can like it didn't feel like a Marvel film to me. It felt like a very separate, like self-contained story that like you could watch at any point in Marvel's in the MCU's history and it would be unaffected. I thought it was great. Again, also like the performances and we'll get into the fights as well. But yeah, like I really appreciated that. And there were a lot because Shang-Chi in the comics was created during the the whole like martial arts craze at that time, and they did some pretty like not so great things in terms of his origin, and even like the modern day stuff like
Yeah,
Shang-Chi.
the son of the caricature Fu Manchu.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some even in like the modern day stuff they did some fleshing out like of the course of in the modern day comics, but there still wasn't enough, so they took advantage of like basically making this character a blank slate and having as much creative freedom as possible to craft their own story, craft their own world. And I thought they did a pretty effective job. So I'll start off those are my 2 cents with what I liked. So anyone else can. Dan, I see you smiling. You want to go. You want to go, Dan.
Well, the fight scenes. Everybody's talking about them.
Yeah.
Like the one fight scene that really that stood out to me the most was the bus fight scene, especially like during the fight when he uses his jacket, like the reversible jacket. I felt like that had like took a page out of like Jackie Chan's like fight moves from the Rush Hour movies. Yeah. There's no Rush Hour inspired there.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, this is something that I don't like about this movie. Like, there's a lot of things I liked about this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm blanking, but like, it's just this movie. There's a lot to like about this movie. What's about Yooni? Do you have anything you want to say on what you like?
I mean, everybody's already got it covered, and yeah, there's a lot. And for one thing, the Mandarin's another entry in the finally fixing the villain problem and making them memorable.
Mm-hmm.
With a backstory that's maybe might not necessarily agree with, but you can at least understand where he's coming from, like Killmonger.
Yeah, exactly.
And Thanos. And well, for me and Dan, we know the immigrant kid dad that's pissed disappointed at his diaspora son for not being what he wanted. So it's like that part's a little too relatable.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we can save that for later parts of the podcast.
Yeah, I will also say though, what I also like this movie was actually really funny. I thought this movie was like it was pretty funny due to mostly was held through the writing, but like Awkwafina was a big part of that as well. We'll talk about her character as well. But yeah, this movie was pretty funny, and yeah, there's lots to like about this movie. I can't really think about what I didn't like, to be honest with you, but like I guess if you want to move on to that category,
there is one thing I didn't like the movie.
Right.
It's just I'll
add the bracket.
Damn, I didn't get to go yet.
Oh shoot, my fault, Chris. What do you like about the movie?
I have my list ready and everything.
All right, wait.
All right, sorry. We're gonna be jumping to what we didn't like. I'm gonna quick go through what I did like.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that a lot of these fights weren't quick cut stuff. It was very. You could tell that there was a lot of time put into the choreography. So that's one thing that's down. The Mandarin, I really liked. I found out that Tony did his takes in either 1 or 2 takes at the most, but he nailed it every single time. So it's like, okay, I like this. He also is, Kaif told me about this. He's a very facial kind of actor. He said, watch his eyes when he acts. And if you ever want to see this again, pay attention to his eyes, man. He really emotes with them.
He does.
I actually had the luck of knowing some of Tony Leung's work beforehand because he was famous in Korea. So my parents knew him for his romance film, so they knew like to focus on his eyes, and they told me that when I was going to see that movie.
Yeah.
And at first, I didn't see a lot of his movies beforehand, so I thought, all right, sure, maybe it's just my mom fangirling about him because he was quite good looking in his youth. But I look back and I'm like, oh wow, mom wasn't kidding. Like he's really good at selling that. It's like the Mandalorian with the helmet on.
I have a super quick question. So is this movie his first Hollywood movie?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Check that. Let me see. The last two things would be how they brought the animal designs to real life. I thought that was really cool. I haven't seen a lot of these kind of like mythical looking creatures, so I was like, this is new. Like this thing doesn't even have a face. This is really cool.
Yeah, especially because like for me it was kind of crazy because like I mean I've taken art history classes, you know, so like seeing like you know because you see a lot of these creatures, especially like the like the lions, like the lion drag. I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I'm talking about. But like you've seen them, especially like during like in like you know old Chinese paintings as well as like especially like you see them a lot in like Chinese New Year when they have you know the
lion dance and the rocks.
Yeah, so like seeing that was kind of crazy as well as like all the other crazy creatures and like the phoenixes as well because that's an also important figure in Chinese culture.
I'll go into more details about in the representation slide, but like they're not actually phoenixes. They're more akin to crows on fire, basically.
Okay.
A lot of like a lot of Western media when it came to you know exotifying Asian you know the Asian mysticism, they just called it phoenixes because it sounded cool, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Chris. Yeah, what else was on the list?
Last thing would be the actual relationship between Zhang and Katy. When it wasn't anything plot related, it was just character versus like character and character communicating. I thought that was a really good high point. You could believe the fact that they know each other for a couple of years now, and they're really good friends.
Yeah, and they didn't need to take a lot of time to explain that. Like it was just
you got it. They're really good friends.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, thanks, Christian. I apologize for skipping. I did not mean
do
to.
it next time.
Yeah, I won't. But yeah, so does anyone else have anything else they want to say about what they liked before we move on to what we didn't?
I'll save them for like later during the other parts of the podcast.
All right, so then so what we didn't, I guess. I don't have a lot.
I only have two. You might necessarily agree or disagree. That's up to you, obviously.
All I got is one.
Okay.
My first criticism is that some of the flashbacks after the first one, where we see the Mandarin's origin, kind of grind the pacing to a halt because the main plot has to stop to explain that. Like I think the only flashback that worked after the Mandarin's origin was Shang-Chi explaining how hard he trained, but other than that, some of them kind of did not work for me.
I would like to add.
Not what the flashbacks told itself, but just their location in the overall plot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's to add to that. It got enough to kind of this on my first viewing. I was like, damn, they're really, damn, that's a lot of flashbacks. I felt like the movie's backbone kind of relied a bit much on the narrative flashbacks. Certain ones work. It's just like you said.
Yeah.
But I feel that the film. I don't want to say not confident, but I felt like it kind of. I think they played it a bit safe.
Yeah.
A little bit. I felt like maybe if the flashbacks were shown in one consecutive order.
Yeah.
Or then have the characters explain it. But mentally, we go back to the stuff that was shown to us, because that's what we do is when having to watch a movie.
Yeah.
It's a case of like show don't tell kind of thing. But no, but that was my one complaint, is that I felt like the movie kind of relied a bit too much on flashbacks. That's kind of my only complaint, really.
Yeah.
The second one, I was telling Dan about this yesterday after I saw the movie, but I think the final battle between Wenwu and Shang-Chi should have been in a brighter setting and not the desaturated darkness of the mountain. Because the beginning was super colorful, and I loved that. And they didn't carry that over to the final battle, and I think that was disappointing because I know everyone's been going on about Marvel does their movies a little desaturated. It didn't bother me until that final battle, but otherwise it was fine. It didn't like detriment the movie, but it was still something I didn't like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you said you had one thing, right?
So only one minor gripe I had about this movie was the soundtrack.
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong, like a good majority of like the compositions and scores, especially with the Chinese traditional like scores and compositions, they fit pretty well. The only problem I had with the soundtrack was like the modern era music.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they could have had more like better like a diverse list of like Asian artists in the modern day era. I mean, although you got Rich Brian, but I felt like that wasn't enough, and you could have added Jackson Wang, which they technically did, but at the same time they didn't. Like if you see in the first trailer, they added like a Jackson Wang song in the trailer, but there wasn't any Jackson Wang in like the final movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Nikki's also in the soundtrack. She's Indonesian, so that should account for something, I think. Not necessarily all the time, but you know.
Yeah, because I heard some Rich Brian, and because I remember at the end of the credits, he shouted out 88 Rising, which I mean I'm a big fan of 88 Rising.
Yeah.
And yeah, I heard some Brian in there. Like they technically had Jackson in there as well. I mean I heard some.
There's Mark. Wait, hold on. No, I'm just going to look through like because I knew like I recognized a couple of these names. There's Mark Twan, JJ Lin. I think that's Sorry, the K-pop star.
Yeah.
But there's still like some hip hop in there because ever since Wu-Tang, hip hop is forever associated with the martial arts genre. So
yeah, of course.
Not saying that's good or bad. It's just how it is.
There was also Anderson .Paak because Anderson .Paak is half black, half Korean.
Yeah, I didn't know that because I was like, the movie's over, and then I hear Anderson .Paak, and I was like, I was not expecting Anderson .Paak to be playing right now. And then they were like, yeah, he's half Korean. I was like, excuse me, and I checked it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, but yeah, I can agree with that, Dan. Yeah, there should have been a bit more of a diverse catalog, but yeah. I'll say my thing real quick, and then I guess we'll move on to like the fights after. But like for me, I don't know what I don't know if it's just a character thing or not, but like there were a lot of flashbacks in this movie that were kind of some of them didn't feel like they needed to be there. But like it's just for me, just because like we haven't really seen the real version of the Mandarin, for how long. So like I wanted a little bit of those old flashbacks, like because we got that brief instance in the beginning where he was in I don't know what it was like this one where he was like he was fighting centuries ago and he looked like had the long hair. I thought it was really cool. I want a little bit more of that stuff. But
I'll bring that in like the representation or like the other parts. But that's a historic side most like I guess Western people wouldn't get unless you grew up in China or Korea or like pretty much anywhere that got subjugated under the Mongolian Empire. But I'll talk more about that later.
Right. Yeah, but other than that, I don't really have anything else besides that. But is there anything I don't want to say before we move on to the fights? I know we want to talk about the fights.
I agree though. The pacing would jump up and down a lot. It would be a good example would be when they met Trevor for the first time.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like almost at a halt there because we're going to talk to you. It's kind of calm and soft. Okay, boom. We got to go. We got to get the hell out of here. Let's jump into the car. And then the whole driving sequence, like getting out of that stuff, like pacing just picked up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Back down again. And then it kind of like, you almost get whiplash from how fast like things stop and go.
Yeah, exactly.
I personally have an issue when you have too much generic dialogue. So that's why I liked when Shang-Chi and Katy were just talking, or it was Shang and his aunt talking, because it kind of slowed down a little bit and you're learning information. But then there would be we have to go and do this because you could feel like this feels generic. This like anybody could be saying this. It doesn't matter if you're saying this or if she's saying this. I'm like, come on, I want some personality here. God damn it. Another thing I would say. This is kind of like a two-parter, but would be the some of the VFX got a little dodgy for me,
especially at the end.
The Monster Hunter final boss at the very end. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing here. I for some reason I was like, this could be a really good intro to Mephisto. It's like if we have to have him pop in somehow, have him be this dark secret creature behind this wall that's been alive since forever, and that manipulates the Mandarin, thinking that it's his wife. And I was like, this could be something right here. You know, busts out tentacles and everything. I was like, okay, is this Kingdom Hearts? Is this Monster Hunter?
I have to kill that monster 7 times to get my armor set. Damn.
Exactly. You get these dragon. What was it? It was a dragon scale weapons that you can only kill them with. Like, okay, cool.
All right.
I mean, listen, I will say this: they did a better version of Monster Hunter than the fucking Monster Hunter movie. So I mean, I'm not solely fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I haven't even seen that yet.
Don't even bother.
It's not like Resident Evil where it's so bad you can watch it.
No, it's worse. It's actually worse.
Because they tried like with this one and it did not work.
Okay.
But all right, so then I guess we're all done with what we didn't like. So now we're moving on to more of what we like. So okay, we're talking about the fight scenes. So I'll just start off for me. Again, like I'm a big fan of martial arts. I don't practice martial arts, unfortunately, but I'm a fan of the. I'm a big martial arts movie fan because my pops. I grew up watching a lot of martial arts movies with my dad. That's kind of how we bonded growing up when I was growing up. So like, so this when this was so I was like, you know, Shang-Chi, right? This movie's coming out. If the fights aren't great, I'm probably going to just walk out of the movie. I'll walk out of the theater because like it's just like the master of kung fu. He needs to be the best, right? Like I told myself, some people, the fights need to be so good that no other Marvel movie can top it until the next Shang-Chi comes out. Like that's how. And like so, I'll put the fights in the high bar. So the one I know, that first fight, you know, with I believe it was with the introduction of Lee and you know the Mandarin. I was like, okay, listen, all right, you got me. And then the second fight with the bus, I was like, okay, like yes, this is what I want. Like the fact that like the bus fight was so well choreographed and like. And like you know, in cinematography wise, there was a lot of wonder. There was all like constant shots in there. Not a lot of cuts. Like how Chris mentioned. I was like, and like you know, you can. And for me, because I've watched so many movies that like I can tell what style is what. So like I was very impressed. I was really impressed, and I was like, yes, like shout out to Declan. I don't know if Declan's watching this, but shout out to Declan because I was sitting next to him in the theater, and every single time there was a fight or something crazy was going down, like I was literally just doing this in the chair because my mind I was blown, and I just so yeah, that's what I'm gonna start off with. And actually, you know what? I'll use this slide now just because so I can just get out the way. But so influences, I feel like we can. These are the influences I was able to pick out from you know the movie. So obviously like you know that bus scene was very Jackie Chan, and I use Rumble in the Bronx as an example because I love that movie as well as
that's where the jacket reference came from
exactly.
You've got the wire jumps in the beginning from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Kung Fu Hustle as well, pretty obvious. I also got a bit of Rush Hour 2 during the fight with the bamboo. Yeah. So like, very Rumble in the Bronx was that bus fight. Very like, again, Rush Hour is a good example because I also love Rush Hour as well. Even the flashbacks. I can't remember what the film's actually called. It's about a general during the Yuan Dynasty where like every time he tells a story, there's a flashback, and then it turns out it was him. I think that's a reference to what the flashbacks were reference to, but
maybe
it didn't work that well for me in the film. But I think that's what the reference was.
Yeah. But yeah, Jackie Chan, Crouching Tiger, obviously with the wire work and all the Tao Lao stuff as well. I put Enter the Dragon here because you know there's a lot of especially like in terms of some of like you know I would say like if you ever people who never watched Enter the Dragon, it's a story about again like Bruce Lee trying to find his sister or figure out how his sister died. So like that first part of Shang-Chi going to Monaco and I'm sorry, I think Macau, my fault. Going to Macau and you know all that stuff really gave me like
even the fight in that underground like gambling ring when he puts on the rings again after his wife dies. That's technically a reference to Hard Boiled, I want to say.
Yeah. I can imagine that as well.
Yeah, given Tony Leung was in both, but
but like I was really enjoying like you know just picking out all the influences. Like I was like again I was so decking like yo okay so Lee's doing Tai Chi Mandarin's doing like Hungar Tiger style. Like this guy's doing Northern Shaolin. Shang-Chi using Wushu and like Wing Chun. Like I was just going crazy. So yeah, there's like there's
you got it right for the most part.
Listen, I try my best, Jimmy.
Half of me is just messing with you.
Yeah.
Like, you should know this now.
But also, I'll also say as well, like not just these movies, but some of these other influences. I also probably like I would say like maybe Ong Bak was a good example that I found, because especially the not in terms of like I didn't see like Muay Thai in this movie, but like in terms of just like acrobatics, it's kind of like a mix of like like Tony Jaa, Jackie Chan, especially like the building where like they're on the side of the building and like with the death dealers. That's very Tony Jaa to me. I don't know why, but like because Tony Jaa's a very acrobatic martial artist, a lot, as well as Jackie Chan. So there's that.
Yeah.
The final fight stuff with like the Talao. Like that. I don't know if you ever watched the Forbidden Kingdom with Jackie Chan and Jet Li, but I was getting some of those vibes.
Isn't that the movie with the dude that played Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution? Is that the same movie?
Maybe. I hope not.
It's also Ta Lo, not Tao Lao.
Oh, it's Ta Lo, my fault.
It is.
It is, right?
No, I think he was on the Disney Channel, but yeah, it is that movie. Okay. I've seen Forbidden Kingdom.
Yeah. Forbidden Kingdom was I was getting very Forbidden Kingdom vibes during like the Ta Lo stuff. And then obviously like this is as a joke, but I don't think it really is a joke. But like, there's a ton of Dragon Ball shit in here, especially towards the end. Like, but yeah, listen. I mean, there was someone in the theater who was like, "Yo, he's about to do that Kamehameha blast." I was like, "Yo."
Yeah.
And like he was straight up riding Shenron. Like that was literally Goku riding Shenron towards the end. So like, I don't know. But yeah.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, those are my. So I'm gonna stop talking now. Now you guys can say stuff about the fight scenes.
So for starters, the bus when they get to the side view, that's a reference to the Korean film Old Boy. I'm gonna say, but just the side view, no real cuts. Probably some cuts hidden there because that's just how it is.
Yeah, I've never watched Old Boy, but it's on my list.
Yeah, that and the beginning fight is again reference to Forbidden Kingdom, and I want to say The Last General. I forget what that movie's called, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but
other than that, you pretty much covered everything. Oh, actually, there's one thing. Mikey mentioned this when he brought up how everybody had a different fighting style. That's used to convey each personality, as it is in most of the martial arts films. Wenwu uses the more offensive-oriented Shaolin Hungar style. Ying Lin and Ying Nan use the Tai Chi, redirecting and only striking when they feel like it. Shang-Chi kind of uses both. And then Xialing uses Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, which is fight however you want, but just keep a rhythm and flow to it. Not necessarily that if that works for you, it works. If it doesn't, that will just how it works.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. So like other than the bus, that cage fight between Xialing and Shang-Chi was actually my favorite, just because of the relationship in there, as well as the couple of humor in there as well. But yeah. And seeing the fight styles go together, I think that's why that one was my favorite, other than the bus fight.
Yeah, the cage fight in the underground fight ring that's ran owned by like his sister Xialing. That's also like another one of my favorite fights. Like I felt like in that fight, her fight was more like an MMA style.
It was very mixed martial art. Yeah.
Considering that like their father Wenwu, like after the mother character, like, are we allowed to talk spoiler at this?
Oh no, yeah.
We're in spoiler territory now, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, like the mother died, then like he took back the ring so that way he can train like his son, and all like the sister character can do was like do nothing but watch, and then she told herself that she kept watching all these years, and she tells herself she can do better than that, and then the moment she grew up, she left her home, went to the States and built her own underground empire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good stuff. That fight was pretty good. I like that fight a lot. Also the one with the death dealer. I like that one as well.
Yeah, that was a good one with the nuance sign, and so you only see the silhouettes going. That I forget which movie that's a reference to.
I think Skyfall. It's because Skyfall did it.
No, there was another Chinese film. I think a Taiwanese one did it as well. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
What's it called? Chris, do you have any favorite fights in this movie or anything?
I would have to say it was also the one with him and his sister because it was emotionally charged too.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say that back kick at the very end to knock him out.
Oh, it's like a simple, but it's so brutal. Like it's so simple, yet it's so brutal.
Literally, like,
God,
lights out. It was crazy.
She's not happy to see you whatsoever, bro.
Oh my god.
Let me see, because past that, I'm kind of blanking on fights besides the one between him and his dad.
Yeah, I like the one between him and Wenwu at the end. I thought, even though it was very, obviously that was a little CGI heavy because obviously they have to show the rings in play. But I thought the way they used the rings, how
great.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
I was saying that was creative because I was thinking that initially the rings were going to be like the actual magical rings, not this like create your kind of weapon kind of situation here where you want whips, make whips, you want a shield, make a shield kind of thing. I was like, okay, this is different.
I thought it was cool because, like, again, in showcasing, like, especially when Shang-Chi gets the rings, how differently they use them in terms of like offense and defense. I thought it was really cool. Like you'd see freaking like Wenwu would use have him boost up, and then Shang would use them as like stepping stones in midair, and like he would put them on his feet and then do like an axe kick. It was cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah. What's it called? Alec, do you have anything you want to point out in terms of the fights?
One thing I liked about two specific fight scenes was it was in the opening scene with but Wenwu and his future wife. When she's trying to protect, it's the opening. From him. When she's having to best him in the fight, and they have that one shot of when she's dragging him. It's with the arm bar. And they have a look of falling in love. Kind of. It's the slow motion.
They were flirting.
Like, fight flirting. That's how they do it. And it's a look of wonder. It's on each other's face, and then cut to the line of like, and that's how I met your.
That's how I met your mother.
Then of course, like in the climax with Shang-Chi and his Shang-Chi is having a fight of Wenwu when he does the same thing to his dad, and same effect, like slow motion, dragging the arm, and him having to give him a look of like, it made audiences laugh. It's of the parallel, it's. But Wenwu just doesn't have a lot of luck. Okay. It's having to be dragged by his wife and son.
It's kind of funny because like that was especially like what grabbed me, that opening fight, because it turned into like from fight choreography to like almost like dancing in a way, and I love that when martial arts do that, especially like to throw back to Last Airbender when Zuko and Aang were I forgot what they're called, but they were dancing with the dragons. It kind of reminded me of that, But yeah, that was a good point. That was a good point to make, Alec. That was a good point. But yeah, I mean, we could talk about the fights all day because the fights are so good.
It really could. What I do like how do I put it? Maybe it's because I actually practiced martial arts. I know Dan and Chris knew about it because I talked about it when I first joined S.H.I.E.L.D. But
yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. I didn't make that after the whole Iron Fist debacle. I just kind of got really quiet. So someone told me.
No, but it's like all those things on TikTok with people doing the martial arts poses after they saw the movie, and I sort of figured why the. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, you can.
That'd be great. So I thought, fuck it, why not? And I tried it, but it's like it came almost so natural to me. Maybe it's because I actually practiced it, even though I practiced different styles. Like,
Wait, what styles do you practice now that you're bringing it up?
I practiced Taekwondo, and I'm trying to sign up for I was going to sign up for a Jeet Kune Do and Tai Chi class here in New York, and then the pandemic happened, so I haven't been able to do that.
All right. Yeah, that's true. All right, so I guess we're gonna move on to the characters now, because we could literally talk about this all day, but we gotta move on. All right, so now we're gonna be talking about characters. Obviously, our boy, the main man, Shang-Chi, played by Simu Liu, bro. Okay, so again, just to start off, when this guy was cast, I did not know anything about him because I haven't seen anything. Again, because I didn't watch Kim's Convenience till I think like a couple months ago. So then yeah. So but I was this man. He's great casting, great casting. His charisma, his physicality, his athleticism, like it's just, yeah, they did it. Marvel did a great job. This was a great choice,
Yeah.
and I remember that he was getting a lot of backlash, especially when he got cast when the casting was announced. But yeah, man, I love this character, especially because like they could have, because they were kind of, we've seen the the pure hero before in like various other films, the hero who does no wrong, who's always pure of heart. But I love the fact that, like, especially when it turns to like the mystery between like why he left and like never came back, like the fact that he actually killed the person that killed his mother, but yet still but yet can accept his mistakes and like still try to be like a pure of heart character even though he's done wrong. I love that. So yeah, I really like this character, man. And also like Simu Liu is just so good. Like it's very, I could see, like, you can see the influences we talked about before, especially like with Jackie Chan, especially like with his his physicality and all that stuff. And yeah, I like this character. So yeah, well, that's how I'm gonna start it off. So who wants to go next?
I gotta go because I know like this is just me messing with you when you call Dan Shang-Chi, but when I saw his exactly like how he came to America and like his growing up, like, did Marvel hack into my phone and just record every part of my life after I came? He's a 1.5 generation Asian American, just like I am. Like when he came here, people think, even though I spoke perfect English because of other things, but like it's like, and then he's going around, his dad's disappointed in him, and his sibling doesn't want to talk to him. Like, yeah, you know what, same thing. and when he's in Macau and he's like speaking in Mandarin, have you seen my sister? And the guy acts like he can't speak, and I'm like, that's me in Korea. I can speak the exact same language, and no one cares anyway. And then later when he's talking to Katy about this is how you pronounce my name, I'm just getting flashbacks to high school when everyone asks me, what's your real name then? Like, I'm sorry, even among this podcast, Dan can't pronounce it either. So it's like, oh my goodness, that's perfect. and
put him on the spot like that.
But you,
wow, bro. Okay.
Because it was you, Dan, and I think Vince that tried to pronounce it the first time. All of three of you failed. Cassie tried; she also failed, and it's like I'm getting flashbacks. And it's like even like, and then when Ronnie Chang, like when Katy says I can't speak Chinese, and she's like, oh, and then Ronnie Chang says, oh yeah, I speak ABC. Like
I speak ABC.
This motherfucker's every guy I met in Korea. They're like, oh yeah, I speak ABKs. Just as a reference, for those who did not get that joke, ABC did not mean English, meant American-born Chinese.
Okay.
It's one of those jokes that you will not get if you're not an Asian American, which is something I really liked. So it's basically someone who was born and raised in the motherland going at an American going, ha! It's like, you know what, Ronnie Chang, fuck you. So yeah, I really love this character, and yeah, I did. I'll save the other parts for the representation later, but yeah, this is now like my most relatable character in the MCU yet.
Word.
All right, Dan, what are your thoughts on Shang-Chi?
Yeah. Well, even now, I still can't believe that Simu Liu is like now part of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Neither can
Looking back, like he was just one of us. He was like besides on Kim's Convenience, he was also like on like those short films and comedy sketches like on YouTube, starting with Wong Fu Production. Yeah, and I remember the night before like San Diego Comic-Con 2019, I was seeing him in like a Wong Fu comedy sketch. And
I saw him in I saw him in Meeting Mommy first. That was a really nice one too.
And then like when they announced like a Shang-Chi movie, I was like, cool. And then they brought out the star, like when they cast it, I was like, what? No way. No way.
Dude, the exact same reaction I had. It's like if any Asian wants to make it into Hollywood, just go to Wong Fu first, work with them, and then you'll be something big.
You get your connections. That you can
No,
go.
seriously,
Yeah.
like, no, seriously. Even without Simu Liu, there's the Indian girl
Exactly.
that's in the Netflix short, and then the girlfriend in Flash. It's kind of there's a pattern here.
Yeah. But like I said, he has come a long way since then. And then and seeing this movie, I was like, this movie was made for him.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. Wow, he was in Wong Fu. I'm sorry, I didn't even
process that. Yeah. Let me see. I guess in this hierarchy that we have here, I would be next.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he is a comedy actor, one, and then also that he has he's able to play emotional scenes. Because like the one that sticks out the most is when he's first fighting with Wenwu, and he's almost like coming at his dad, like, "Is this what you wanted, Hans?"
I love that scene so
I was
much.
like, "Yes, tell him what's up."
Every Asian child's wish of going against their dad. I'll tell you right now.
I kind of felt that. I didn't want to think it was like a stereotype kind of thing, but like going against like your parent who's overbearing and super demanding about what they want, like, okay, I can understand that. And then to be like, basically like, "Fuck you, is this what you wanted?" And then it's like, all right, this is great. I'm with this now. I'm with this.
That scene had big T'Challa, it's time to go, and as you can see, I am not dead energy.
That scene was like,
Yeah. Let's go another round, Pops. Let's go. Yeah.
Basically. Is there Alec, do you want to say anything about Shang-Chi?
But Christian, I don't know if you had more to say.
Yeah, do you have anything else to say?
No. Yeah, that he's good with the comedy. I liked his flow with Awkwafina, and then also when it came to some emotional stuff, he didn't let up. You know, he still went with it.
Yeah, especially when he's explaining his origin to Katy. Like,
Yeah.
I think further, not the first time, but like the second time when they're at Talo, that was really very showed his like his dramatic acting chops, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, good points. Alec, do you want to say anything?
To quickly say, with Simu Liu, he's very passionate about his role, and that is super respectable. And he cares about the character a lot, and that's really all you can ask for. It's what an actor does, and he did good with the role he played. He's Sean is just a guy who you want to be friends with and sit down and have a drink with, as they did. It's with their the drinking buddies. He seems friendly on the surface and down to earth, but he has a tragic past.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of dark material in this movie if you really think about it, like a tragic backstory, a tragic fall to it's to becoming a villain again. It's with his father. He was trained since the age of 7 to be an elite assassin. And he did have his first kill, I'm assuming, at age 14.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a lot of like emotional baggage. And with that, I'm excited to see him in the future so we can get a bit more of his personality now that he's officially in the Avengers circus now, according to what Banner said.
Yeah.
I say that because I kind of wish we got more with him in these less. I kind of want to get to know him in a more casual setting, but just his personality. It's because with T'Challa, he had a supporting role in Black Panther. It's in Captain America: Civil War, and then he had a starring role in Black Panther. But we saw a glimpse of his personality.
Yeah.
Except here with Shang-Chi, it's his first movie, and we don't know him, and it's add that on top of everything else in the movie. We don't really have a chance, from my perspective. We didn't have a chance to get to know him too well, his personality. So, but he did good, and I'm excited to see him more.
Do you think it would have been a better option to, I don't know, have him as a supporting role in another movie than have this movie after? Okay.
No. I'm happy that this is his introduction. It's just how it was for me. It's not a complaint. I'm just excited to get to know him more because I feel that the movie, it didn't have everything sink in for us, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, we know of him. We see his relationship with Awkwafina and his family, but you want to know more about his like the guy himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because the only other movie that he could probably pop up in at all would have been Ant-Man and the Wasp, just because it's in the same city. But then
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Well, but with that said, I'm very happy they didn't go down the route of having other characters from the area pop in. Very happy about that.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, anyone else have anything to say about Shang-Chi, or do you want to just move on? All right. Well, yeah, no.
Wait, I do got one more thing.
Okay.
Like Chris said, like he is a funny guy, like that, which definitely like is what makes him like perfectly casted in this movie, considering like he knows how to play both like the comedy side and then there's the dramatic side.
Yeah.
And although he doesn't have much experience in like martial arts, he does like have a background in gymnastics, which definitely plays a part in the movie as well. You can definitely.
I mean, it looked like he had experience in martial arts because he was killing it. Like,
you can definitely tell like how much like training they did and like how much dedication he put into this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially except those two, I forgot to mention. It's super unique to me, how it's something that it's a theme having to be. It's throughout the movie. It's having to live up to your potential, with Katy and her family saying, she's a graduate from what I think she's, but not Harvard.
She's from Berkeley, like University of California. Berkeley. It's one of the Ivy Leagues, nevertheless. So like she's smart.
So kind of like a theme all throughout the movie is that having to live up to your potential, and with Shang-Chi, it's having to obtain the rings from his father. Except with this now, he's okay with being a parking valet, because life now for him of having to move to America is a lot better than training to be an assassin and kill your mother's killer.
Yeah.
So he's like, I found it super endearing how he's fine with the life he has, as average as it may be, is of having to be a subordinate to other people in better statuses. It's with him having to go out to karaoke and him trying to justify parking valet. I'm like, no, well, like a parking valet is like, it's a lot of work. It's like, it's both him and Katy have that mindset of we're fine at the place that it's how we are in life.
Yeah.
But now this movie has set him, it has set them, it's on a new life of being in it's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna close it off and move on. But like, Simu did a good job. Like, again, because like this character's basically, in my opinion, is a blank slate. So like the fact that they took so much creative freedom to like flesh out this character as much as they can with not just with some new stuff, but it's a little bit of some stuff in the comics. But like it was just fun. Like it was very impressive due to his his acting capabilities and his range. But like again, it was just he had fun with it. You could tell he was having fun with it. So like So yeah, Shang-Chi, man, he's up there. He's up there for me in terms of MCU characters. I really like this character. All right, yeah. So we'll just move on to probably now one of my favorite villains in the MCU period now. Yeah. So Wenwu, aka the Mandarin, played by Tony Leung Chiu-Wei. Dude, this villain is so good. Like it's just it's so good. Like it's because I just like because at its baseline, because I thought that they were just gonna he was just gonna be they could portray this character as just just tyrant and just as like an awful like an abusive father, which I mean they did do that, but especially because when they showed him the relationship with he had with his wife while they were growing up, like Shang and his sister were growing up, like I like that he's surprisingly very likable. Like he was so likable to me. Like I was just like, dude, like look at him. He's freaking playing like Dance Revolution with his kids, like with family time. I was like,
I'd say relatable is a better term.
Yeah, he's very. I mean, yeah, he's very relatable. And I'm just like, dude, like, But then like they do a good job of like giving you like those wholesome moments with his character, but then snapping it back like, oh no, wait, he's still an asshole. Like he's still not a great dude. Like, you know, he's still not a nice guy. Even though he tried to be, especially after, you know, his wife passed. But yeah, man. But like, it's just at like the core of his character. Like, he's just a tragic man who lost his wife and wants to get her back. I thought it was such a relatable, aspect of his character, and I loved it. And again, Tony did a great job. Like, and thank God I watched The Grandmaster before watching this movie, because like just to get, you know, some of an idea of base of what his acting capability. Like, yeah, he did a great job. So that's gonna be how I'll open it up. Y'all who wants to chime in can chime in.
Well then, I would have to say that yes. This what I like is how he brought almost like the cadence in his voice for one. I thought he was going to be like somewhat maniacal at some point, or that he's power hungry, but he kind of just kept it straight. He was just very like, no, this is what's up, this is what's not up. I like the fact that this guy lived for I think it was either 8,000 or for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, it took somebody else to finally change his mind, and then he was living up to try to be that potential of being a father and somebody different, and somebody believing in him to be different. I'm like, okay, you know, there's that. Who doesn't want to do that naturally? And it was cute, like seeing little montages of their family just doing stuff together, and then his old habits coming back, and then him falling back into his old habits, like, is also understandable and relatable too, because like, you know, push comes to shove, sometimes you will fall back into the things that you just naturally do, which is just conquer or destroy. Yeah. It's like, damn, you are in its essence almost like a fallen hero, even though you did conquer people for 1,000 years. Like, it's complicated.
Well, it's not really 1,000, but it could be just be playing with history because of how it turned out. But
yeah. Well, damn it, I was gonna say one more thing. I also could like see myself behind him too.
Yeah.
Like the death of his wife and him seeking revenge for it, and him taking his son, which was wild at first. You're gonna take your son here? Okay. Yeah. But I could also kind of see myself like, yeah, you know what? My wife was off. You could bet that I would probably want to seek some revenge. And I was like, you know what? Go off. Go get him.
Son, I want you to see me kill these people.
Like, and I love that scene too.
He snapped. He snapped so hard. He started beating. I was like, oh my God. Let's go.
That scene was, again, that's like Tony did a great job of like not just showing like, you know, like signs of compassion, but like his ruthlessness.
Yes,
it's crazy. Like, it's
no
like
mercy for these people, not an int.
And I'm gonna kill you all in front of my 7-year-old son. Like, what the hell? Like, it's nuts. It's
nuts. Killing you what is essentially a gunshot, but with my hand. That's what he did, if you think about it.
That's what the rings are capable of, which they're still a mystery. So
yeah, and it kind of shows. I mean, it kind of shows that, like, you know, on occasion that like people's wives are like, you know, like wives are kind of like their North Star. You know, like it keeps them, you know, compassion, all that stuff. But then when that North Star is gone, then you lose sense of direction and you just go nuts. So I liked how they did that. So yeah, Yooni, you want to say anything? You seem like you're a little antsy.
No, I was just kind of like listening to everyone. No, there's the about the eye acting. Really, it's that I think a lot of the humanizing Christian said earlier, but especially in that, I think it's like second to final fight where Shang-Chi's going on about like, you stopped being a dad the second she died. You put the rings back on, so you valued that over us. And like before he sends him into the ocean, as most Asian fathers want to do to their kids if they disappoint. But
just something I feel like you're trying is to say something here.
Yeah, totally. But you can see it in his eyes. Like he feels some regret, but like it's kind of like Darth Vader, I guess, because it's also the villain is the hero's dad thing, where it's like, I think I came too far and no really going back now, but he does that anyway when he gives the rings to his son and then dies by the Dweller in Darkness.
Yeah.
So yeah, the humanizing is really well, and even again with the Asian dad thing, when he's at dinner and talking about the compliments, and Xialing looks like she really would be literally anywhere but at dinner.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
they named me after a chicken dish.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. They made the U.S. government afraid of an orange.
like Dan knows well as I do. Like that's just what Asian dads are like at a dinner. They're talking about themselves. Like then it's like, oh yeah, what is your Chinese name? It's like that's Dan and I know that a little too well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all the humanizing really well and believable motivation. And I brought this up to Dan. This is the one time I think I can believe when the hero and the villain have the same powers and like there's an actual reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, not saying Killmonger was bad, but I think his justification, it wasn't bad, but it's like he kind of took it from T'Challa in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, essentially, Wenwu gave those powers to Shang-Chi, so it's like it makes sense why they have the same power set.
Yeah.
So I think that was also a good reason. But yeah, everything else Christian's already covered. So yeah, fantastic villains.
I wanted to add to that dinner scene because I was kind of a little sad because I like loved the line they used in that I think the second trailer so much in that dinner scene where he's just like, like, be careful how you speak to me, boy.
That struck something.
Like, I wanted. They didn't use that, and I was like, dude, like I would have been like, that would have. Yeah, that would have been a great moment.
Well, actually, like also like about that line, he used it in a different context to the elders of the village. Which
man, watch how you speak to me, boy.
Here's the thing, though, like that the subtitles kind of paraphrase it. What he actually said is an old Chinese idiom where he's saying, "I have eaten more salt than you've ever eaten rice."
Yeah.
It carries the same meaning as that subtitle, but I think that was just a funny noticing saying I just look 50, but I'm like way older than you are.
It got lost in translation a little bit.
Yeah.
And also, I have to ask. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something I also just want to out. I respect kind of like of how they did with Black Panther, that about 30% of the movie's dialogue is in a different language.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Is the other language, is it but Mandarin?
Yeah, that's Mandarin.
Okay. It's just something I kind of wanted to point out. I respected the fact that it was not. Yeah.
I agree with that. Like we didn't have to only have 10% or even less than that of Mandarin. It's like, okay, for long stints of time, I almost kind of wanted it to go for longer. Like for the moments where you can speak Mandarin, that's me though. I can read subtitles and then watch at the same time. Like I have a shotgun gun, but I kind of wanted to get more into it. It's like it's almost like the difference between sub and dub, because sometimes when you could speak, just play the character as you can do a much better job versus sometimes, like you said, like dubbing. There are some moments where things are lost in translation or it might not come off as good. Versus just go out, go authentic, bro. I like that. I like it.
Also, I'd want to say as well, I gotta also give chops to his physicality and his. I liked his fight scenes in this movie. Like it's just and again watching the Grandmaster beforehand definitely helped. Like it's just, dude, this man he's in his 50s and
he's 57. No, he's 50 2, 3, but nevertheless he's a little over middle age.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, he killed it, and especially the way he was using the rings, again making whips and shields and shit. I was like, this is cool, So,
he's 59. Holy smokes,
he's 59.
Oh
my god!
Did not know that.
God. Okay,
he's old. He's old enough to be my dad.
But yeah, I just want to put that out. Dan, do you want to say anything about Wenwu?
Well, I like that he's not the traditional villain where he wants to take over the world, get greedy, or more power. He was just lost on what he wanted for thousands of years, and then when he and when he met like the mother, like Yin Lin, played like by Fala Chen, he realized like love was all he wanted, something that he could like settle down, grow old for, and then he thought he can finally put his past behind, but unfortunately his past came back to haunt him when those guys like want him dead. But when he wasn't around, they decided to like off the mother instead, and that's what broke him and like run back into his life, put back on the rings. And then, and even after that, like he didn't like go back to his old habits. He sort of did, but at the same time didn't. All he wanted was like, you know, to bring back like his love. And he thought like the voices in his head, like he thought like his mother was behind like some gate, and he felt like going back there to like opening those gates to let his wife out. But it turns out it was just an illusion deceiving him into letting out this evil dragon of darkness out, into like taking over the universe. And I like how in the end that he sacrificed himself to save his son Shang-Chi, give him the rings. And I love like the last honorable death was a moment of him just staring at his son's eye. No dialogue, because you know through his eyes, from his eyes to his, you knew what he said, even though it wasn't said.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to agree with that. I kind of had this little thought here, where I think why he was such a shitty dad would be because of like how much he put into his wife, how much he wanted to change he put into his wife. And that's when he was, you know, when she passed, all he was left with was his own thoughts, his own past. And his like only solution was like, okay, well, she's not here, so let me just go back to what I know. And what I know is force. So throw on the 10 rings. And then when him and Shang are doing the same thing that his wife did, where he gives him that same look. I think it was a moment of realization that in a way she's still kind of alive. Because right now, my son is doing the exact same thing. And I think that's when it leads to him sacrificing himself and being like, my wife's still alive and my kids. Yeah. I'm really fucking up here. Like, yeah. I think it adds a certain level to it. Or I might be pulling it out of my ass here. But
no, it makes sense.
I can see that as well.
For my thoughts on that, I hearkened it's the character of Wenwu to Michael Keaton's Vulture in Homecoming. They are both family men who ultimately wanted to do things for their family to bring their family, you know, happy. Well, happiness is a strong word, but with his mindset was, it's, we can find my wife and we can be a family again, because it's very hard to change. He finally found love that made him change and have family, and now with that spark gone, what is there in life? I go back to the only thing I know, and you know, and like, you know, I'm not going to repeat it, but I hearkened that to he's a much better villain than Black Widow's Dreykov. I think the movie, you know, he's human, he's complex, and I think it is among Marvel's most complex, understated villains. I feel like it's in the MCU because he's not completely evil.
Yeah, for sure. Great character. I like he's one of my top 5 favorite. Like, I love this character. Because they could have easily just made him just, you know, typical tyrant, take over the world villain, but now they added that layer of depth to him and humanized him very, very, very well. And then Tony did a good job of doing that, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, he could have ended up like Malekith or something.
He could have easily.
I am King Warrior Man. I shall destroy you. Like,
because evil and stuff.
Yeah. So, and also, like, whoever's decision was to change, you know, because we're so used to like the Makwam rings being like actual rings, but like on fingers. But whoever's decision was it to make like them akin to like Shaolin bands was genius. I thought that was
it's just Hungar rings. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
there's no
Hungar
like
rings.
there's no. I don't think there's any evidence that the Shaolin monks actually use them.
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay.
point still stands though. I think it's genius. But yeah, no,
I
love
want
this.
them 10 rings.
Yeah, wait, you have them?
I know. I want them.
Oh,
I thought you had the real deal.
like about to say, like you're gonna complete the concept.
Dan's gonna outlive us all and steal our money and be a conqueror, and then beat his son to a pulp.
Here, the YouTube. So
yeah, but yeah, so we gotta move on to the next character. But yeah, no, I love Wenwu, man. He's dope. Tony Leung did a tremendous job. All right, so yeah, next character on the list is Katy, played by Awkwafina. I'm gonna say my thoughts. I was very surprised. I like the fact that like they could have also easily just like made her just like a love interest, but like nah, they're just friends. It's platonically just friends. They're just chilling. Which I appreciated. Also again, like knowing Awkwafina, like I've seen her like in Jumanji, and I watched a couple episodes of like Nora from Queens, and I've seen her rap as well. So like she's pretty funny. I know like her comedy. Also like in Ocean's 8 as well. In Ocean's 8.
Fun fact: Simu Liu's in Nora from Queens as like a cameo as her maybe grandpa.
That's so funny.
That episode.
But yeah, no, she brought the humor into this role. I loved it. A lot of great lines, especially like the whole pronunciation of Shang-Chi. I thought that line was so great.
That's literally me in high school and even now trying to explain how to pronounce it.
But I was surprised that like, because I remember seeing, and also it's in the thumbnail for this video. The fact that like she had quote like an action role as well. I didn't expect that. I thought she was be on the sidelines and be funny, but no, she actually had a role in taking out the Dweller in Darkness. Thought was great. And yeah, I thought she was really fun. I thought she was a really fun character, and like I guess she's a Marvel hero now, especially the post-credit scene. Like, yeah,
she's a heroic side character.
Let's wait until what the sequel says, Mikey.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are my 2 cents. So anyone else can chime in.
Yeah.
I'll say like no.
You want to go ahead?
No, see, I've seen her in the movies as well. She kind of let me down in Raya and the Last Dragon because there was too much modern talk in that, I feel, and I think this was a definite improvement over that. Well, probably because the modern talk works because it is the modern day, but
correct.
Yeah. But I think
I still haven't seen Raya yet.
It's actually really nice. Check it out.
Neither have I. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but yeah, I actually liked her. Like I thought she was going to be either the love interest or just the comic relief, but it turns out she has her own arc, and yeah, it's just like Simu Liu about the Asian American. You can do better than you got this all. You can be better than what you think you are. Experience, which I actually think works well, especially for her. It's like she's saying like family came from China, and now she's technically somewhere in China, so it's like visiting the motherland, reconnecting with the roots. So I actually really liked it, and also the fact that she still understands Shang-Chi, even though, like she said, I did kill someone, and she's like, you can still move past that. And so, like,
yeah,
she could have easily, like, if she was the love interest, she could have kissed him right there, but she wasn't, just the best friend. And I actually really liked that subversion of the typical tropes.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, you can have friends. Not everything has to be a love relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And anything else, if you like, everybody else will cover. So go ahead.
Yeah. Dan, you wanted to?
Yeah, I like the chemistry between Simu and Awkwafina's character as the friendship kind of chemistry, not the typical forced romance, love interest. And this actually worked in the movie. And as a supporting character, you think supporting characters are just they're just for show, for back in, back out. But throughout the movie, she was even as just a supporting character, she was there with Zhang throughout the entire movie, especially in the battle in Tao Lo, as they trained her to use a bow and arrow. Mm-hmm. She was part of that fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And her comedy actually I actually enjoy her comedy and humor in this movie, as I'm familiar with her roles in Crazy Rich Asians and also Nora from Queens. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be a little bit much, but it actually works in this movie. And I'm like, a friend of mine told me, like, said, if she wasn't in this movie, it would have been a different movie, a whole nother movie.
Yeah.
This movie actually works with her in it.
Yeah. It would have definitely been changed totally.
She has stuff to do. Like, you almost forget the fact that she's like the driver. She's like the pro with the skills of the wheel.
And the Asian Jeff Gordon. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
She's the better Milton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chris, you want to say anything about
if anything I have to say would be that this is my first introduction to Awkwafina ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
The only other time I heard of her was when people were praising her for Crazy Rich Asians. But before that, or between that and here, I didn't know anything about this girl. So I kind of went in with fresh eyes. Like I said before, she hits that like I have a best friend who's kind of like this, where we like.
Wait, are you talking about Amy?
No, not Amy. Actually, I haven't seen Amy for a year or two. I've got this. Actually, no. During the time, actually, yeah, it was Amy basically at the time. But I have that, like, I get that friendship of like just being one-to-one and understanding each other, and just like you are really cool and a person, and you're fun to be around, and not to mention like karaoke though.
Karaoke doesn't get any more Asian than karaoke.
Apparently so. But no, I like the chemistry that she has with Shang. I definitely related to that, and I like that. I like seeing it. It's like, yeah, there's more to this. And even like the grandmother throwing away that line, just like, when are you guys getting married? It's like when my grandmother met her too, she said the same thing. She was like, so you don't think she's fair? You don't want to marry her? I'm like, why can't she just be a friend of mine? What the hell?
Yeah. I've also had various situations like that as well. So
so it's like, yeah, I get the relationship, and I like that, especially with first time meeting this lady. I like it.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. You've never seen her or anything. You haven't seen her bars? You haven't seen her bars at all?
I heard she was a rapper, but I just haven't had the time.
Fair enough. Alec, you want to say anything about Katy?
To keep it going, I liked it was the atypical of love interest / sidekick partner. She was, it's his tag along, and it was cool to see how it portrayed a friendship, unless the sequel decides to change that. Her contributing to the plot was also nice. Her humor, I liked how they had Hotel California. It's on the skyscraper. Her having to sing the lyrics out of nowhere and throw them off. That was funny. And her humor. It's with the karaoke, and I'm happy to know that that little Nos survived the snap and made Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was. She brought in the outsider perspective because when Wenwu asked her, "What is your actual non-American given name?" and yeah, she I liked her humor. I liked her humor in it. Yeah. I thought she was good.
Yeah, well, if anything else anyone wants to say, I'll just close off saying I like this character. Like, again, brought the outsider perspective, brought the humor. And like, I guess now that like they're kind of making it seem like her and like Shang like a package deal now, like in terms of like partners going forward. So like, I want to see what they're gonna do with her and other Marvel films beyond this. When she does come back. But yeah, I like this character a lot. So,
I also like how that like in the end it was like making the joke about being responsible, calling it a night, go home, get some sleep.
Or
yeah.
Except also too, but something else. She kind of I don't know if it was a part of the script or of the improv, but she kind of brought a maturity level to the MCU's humor, because I don't know if I'm qualified to say this, but she mentioned female genitalia in a vulgar way, and that was funny. And I was like, okay, Disney, I get it.
Yeah, Disney out here, right?
Yeah, it's their own Family Guy now, so it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we'll move on. So the next character after Katy is Xialing, played by Meng'er Zhang. Probably butchered that, but it's fine. I like this character. I really like this character. I don't know if anyone's read the comment. I don't think Shang-Chi has Shang-Chi has a sister now, I guess, but originally he didn't. I don't think.
No, like he didn't really have any like real background until Yin Lin took over for this current series, and turns out he has like 4 other half siblings.
Okay, gotcha.
They sort of so far it seems like they just took all those 4 siblings and then I don't know, concept Megazorded them into Xialing. So
yeah, great character. I like the fact that Shang-Chi has an equal that has an equal to his skills instead of just him being like the only one who's at the top. I like that he has someone that can beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. It's kind of necessary because you can call him the best, but if there's anyone to compare him to, especially in a franchise like this, you kind of have to set someone to be his equal or at least have a chance of actually beating him. So it's it was inevitable.
Yeah, but then again, you could tell even though they're pretty evenly matched, they have different styles. So again, you mentioned Jeet Kune Do as well. With her, and mixed martial arts is what we've said with her. I thought that was great. Yeah, no, she was cool. She was really funny. She was also had funny moments as well. What's up?
I'm saying that she fucked him up. Man.
No, she did. She literally fucked him up. It was good.
I mean, I guess I really
but yeah, all of her action scenes were dope. A lot of what's up?
Sometimes you cut in and out. I know you didn't say anything.
I know. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Screamers is fucking up, but I said her fight scenes were good. Her banner with Simu as well, I really enjoyed. And yeah, she's just a badass. She was literally just the badass sister, almost 100% of the time. And then had those sentimental moments when they brought up conversation about their mother. I thought that was great. Again, what's that weapon? I've seen this weapon a lot. The rope dart. I forget what it is. I don't know what it's called.
I think it's a Shenbao. I don't remember the actual Mandarin name. If you played Assassin's Creed, they mentioned.
Yeah, that's how I know it from Assassin's Creed. That's why I call it the rope dart. I like some of that stuff in there as well, and also
I do like that becomes her iconic weapon. It gives her more of a character. It's it's Shuri's it's like her Shuri's hand blasters. Whatever those things are.
I like that she's now become a better fighter. Once they set foot in Ta-Lo, considering growing up she wasn't allowed to train or fight, but now that they're in Ta-Lo, there's no sons favoring over their daughters. Anybody can be allowed to train if they want to.
Exactly.
It's like the martial. It's like I mentioned earlier. She has no common style with her parents or her brother. Hers is essentially a modern MMA fighter.
Yeah, exactly. As well as I liked with her character the whole independence factor. Once she left, she built everything she had from the ground up, which I thought was really cool. This underground fighting that was awesome. But no, I like this character a lot. Also, she also got a chance to ride Shenron. I mean that's cool. That's cool too. That's all I gotta say for now. But I don't know, anyone else can go out. Do you want to say anything about Xialing?
So about Xialing, I kind of like how they made an arc with her having to be quiet her entire life. Well, growing up it's after her mom died to avoid the attention from her father, because that's how he forgets that she was there, by not speaking up, and to have to wait for her brother, her soulmate, to come back from his mission, and then 6 days turns to a week. It turns into a month, a year, and then 6 years later, I think she said, is when she fled, made her underground fighting ring with I think it was called the Golden Daggers Club. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that's what it was called, and to make an empire. And now she goes on the journey of it. Start the movie with seeing their father pass away, and now she's taken over the 10 rings.
Oh God, I have theories about that.
And now
The 10 rings will return.
But
Well, Hydra's gone now, so somebody has to fill that.
Yeah,
gap.
it's a power vacuum. But it's kind of a Sharon Carter situation. It's going to be for good purposes, bad purposes. I doubt she's going to be a terrorist because she's okay.
Well, not a terrorist like Wenwu's 10 rings.
Right. But she got her fighting club people in the 10 rings, so that was nice. And fun fact about the Golden Daggers, the club scene, a couple Easter eggs in that scene. As we know, spoiler alert, Wong and Abomination, but also too, it's in the other cage. It's sort of a glass cage. I think that
that person had Extremis, right?
Extremis from Iron Man 3,
and the first person fighting him was a Black Widow.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it! I saw the Extremis. I didn't see the Black Widow. Damn it!
I checked the cast, and it's one of the stunt people who was on like Black Widow, and then she just did it again for this one.
Nice.
But but actually, I thought she was fun hero. It was a fun heroine character, and I'm very intrigued to see where she goes from here.
Very intrigued.
One last thing. I do like how she's because she still grew up under their father more. She doesn't have as much. How do I do it? Resistance to killing. He's like, I want interrogation, and she immediately just chucks him overboard, and they see him definitely dying. He's like, you got soft. And just walks away.
As America, it's made you soft.
But no, I like this character. She was great. I like this character a lot. But
Would it surprise you to know that this is her only acting credit?
Really?
It's her only movie she's ever done.
What?
I knew that. I found that out just prior to this podcast. I'm like, huh, nice. She got married during this movie too, as I found out.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Wait, so what job has she had before this?
None.
I think she was like, I think she was like about to make an acting debut, and then this turned out to be her first film.
Wow.
IMDb it, and I'll let you know in a moment.
And then she's so good that Marvel's just gonna keep her now. That's actually wow. That's okay. Wow, that's
what job is what she doing like before this? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. This is
nothing on her IMDb at least. So
wow.
There might be some stuff because I want to say that she's a Chinese actor, so maybe she's got like a filmography back in China that hasn't been here. But usually that's even that's on IMDb too.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, it says here that she went to acting school. So.
Oh, okay.
She did theater.
Okay.
That's probably it then. She acted on theater like on Broadway and basically, and then she made her debut here.
Oh, that's great.
She woke up one day. I want to be in Shang-Chi real quick. Yeah.
But yeah. All right, but we got to move on. But anyone else have any thoughts? Dan, do you have any?
Well, it is going to be interesting for those brothers and sisters to cross paths again, considering they're both now on different paths. Xialing's now the new crime boss of the 10 rings. Now that she's merged in with her underground fight ring.
Yeah.
We got Ronnie Chang's character is now her right hand man. Razor Fist is now working for her now.
Yeah.
And all those now her army, the new 10 rings, is no longer just consists of men anymore. It's now men and women of all race and ethnics. If you see in the end credit scenes.
Yeah. All right. So yeah.
And besides the sequel, I could definitely see Xialing and the 10 rings pop up
anywhere,
even in a Disney Plus series.
I would love a Disney Plus series.
Oh, Falcon Winter Soldier season 2.
Whether they're helping the good guys or the bad guys.
Yeah.
Word.
Or I just hope it's not the tiny Easter eggs you can't see unless you really look like the buyer from Ant-Man. Or
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
All right, guys, we gotta move on. But yeah, so great character. But so now we're gonna talk about Ying Nan, played by the legend Michelle Yeoh. I love Michelle Yeoh, dude. I love her.
Who was in Crouching Tiger as well?
Crouching Tiger. Yep. A James Bond movie that the name escapes me. I first knew who she was when I was a kid from watching The Mummy 3, that terrible movie.
Is that Tomb of the Dragon Emperor?
Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, yeah, with
Okay.
Jet Li. Yeah, no, I love this. I love her. I love her physicality.
Also in Crazy Rich Asians too.
As well, yeah. You always forget that like she doesn't just do martial arts. She's actually like a really good actress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even though like I wanted a little bit more from this character, I mean, this character was literally like it was basically the character from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but like it's so I kind of wanted a little bit more of like of her personality and like to get to know her. But from what we got, I thought it was cool. Like it was cool from what we got. I mean, it's Michelle Yeoh. Like what's not to like? Yeah. So those are my opening thoughts. So anyone can chime in. All right, Alec, you got it.
Fun fact: she was in the Guardians too.
So was yeah.
Right. Forgot about that.
All right.
It's to keep up the trend of the actors. It's in the MCU having to do separate characters. Yeah.
It's a variant.
Yeah, it's a variant.
Although I kind of argue she got the better deal, kind of like Emma Chen now being Cersei.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, especially it's more like especially since it was like an Easter egg. It's with it's the first team. It's of the Ravagers, so it's one of the 5 post-credit scenes in Guardians 2. But anyways, she played the mentor role well. She definitely picked up the fighting style of her sister with having to alter the wind. So the powers of the land. It's granted by the Great Protector.
Yeah.
And that's magic.
Yup.
So
it has, yeah.
So the wind and everything else like that, that's all powered by the Great Protector.
Yeah.
It's like it's the wind, it's manipulation, and she does her job of having to help Shang-Chi. It's discover that his tons of the generations, it's of his family, all live in him. It's his mother and his father, and she provided the movie with a big dump of exposition about alternate, but about it's of a universe about the Dweller in Darkness and everything. She was the mouthpiece towards explaining this land, and she did. She was a badass in this movie. So,
for sure. All right, who else? Anyone else have any thoughts on character?
I do like how she's the sort of gateway to teaching Shang-Chi the more Tai Chi style and letting Xialing be like, fight, like I'm not your dad, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes. And like the emphasis from the combative like Shaolin to the more peaceful quote unquote Tai Chi style and teaching him how to do that, which does definitely come back into play compared to most Chekhov's guns like this. So exactly.
Did she use a sword in this movie?
No.
Oh, come on, Michelle. You gotta use a sword, man. I like it's one of her best action scenes for me in her career. Anything she does with a sword. But yeah, who else has any Chris, you have any thoughts on
I don't, just because I didn't get enough time to meet her. She kind of
same here.
Towards the end.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah. I would say that if her mother was still alive, she would have played her mom. But yeah, I would say that she kind of just goes. She's there to just teach Sean how the other parts of the other parts of what he needs to learn to be able to like actually beat his dad for one when it comes to Tai Chi, and then kind of like the world explanation of like, okay, we're not on Earth, kind of, we're somewhere else right now. So
Yeah.
you know,
classic third act character.
Yeah. It gets lost in the sauce, but for the most part, she was fun.
And it sucks. Like we're probably never gonna see this character again. So like, we
have Trevor Slattery in the movie here, so you can't really say that.
I will. Yeah.
But Mikey, I'm curious. But what makes you think we're not gonna see her again?
I don't know, because again, she felt like a very third act. Like she's mostly there to like help mentor Shang-Chi and prep him for this big fight and exposition. So that's why I'm just like,
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, so like, because role, we might not see her again. But
well. Look, here's the thing. It's we don't know what's being made. It's behind the scenes, but of course, by the time it's of this recording, it's killing the box office right now.
That's true.
Especially since it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to the people, everyone. Sorry to date this podcast, but oh well.
71 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I have faith that a sequel could happen, and of course having to give her star power, especially with her being their aunt, I think she could come back.
Yeah.
It's like, hey aunt, I need you to tell me about something. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Tell me how to manipulate the other three elements, please.
Yeah. I was thinking the same. I was like, this is a really good Last Airbender movie here. I'm liking it.
But she could. Okay, never mind. I could see that she could definitely come back, and that will kind of play into my my other theory for later. But yeah, so anyone else have anything? Dan, do you have anything to say?
I mean, well, for starters, she could play a more of a bigger role in the sequel if they do bring her back. But in this movie, although like her role wasn't as big as everyone's, it was a pivotal role as she was like the key to helping like Shang-Chi like reach his full potential. He was allowed to like let go of like his hate and fear towards like his father when like she told him like, you are a product of all who came before you, the legacy of your family. You are both your mother, and whether you like it or not, you are also your father.
Mm-hmm. That's true. All right, so I guess we'll move on to the next character. So I don't know if her name is correct, but like this is her on IMDb. It was Lee. So Lee, played by Fala Chen, who's the Shang-Chi and Xialing's mother.
It's Ying Li, so like Ying now.
Okay.
So like.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like just you listed just her first name, so it's like no real difference.
Yeah. I like this character, especially like when we first saw her in the beginning with the introduction with her meeting Wenwu. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And you can definitely like, because again with a role like this, we're just like, oh, like my dead mom or like my dead parent, like in those flashbacks, they could have definitely like cheesed it.
Like, oh god, this really is a Disney movie.
They could have definitely cheesed it up, but I really think that like, especially like with her performance, even though like she had a decent amount of screen time, I think. But like, like you can tell that like with the character how much she loved her children and how much they had to to imply that like like you have to be aware of both sides of your heritage, even though your dad may seem kind of off. But I thought she was really cool. And again, we didn't really see her fight that much, only mostly in the beginning and then like off screen when she got killed. But and I thought she served her purpose. And it felt like the actor did a really good job. So those are my thoughts on that.
No, she definitely did the dead mom cliche better, mainly because like her death is the main point, like essentially the inciting incident for the movie's plot in a way. Because if she didn't die, none of the movie would have happened if you think about it. And she's not just there to be like, oh, boo-hoo, my mom's dead. It was like, yeah, we miss her too, but like she was also the only thing keeping us together. And now that she's gone,
she's the catalyst for so much.
Yeah, she is.
And like even Shang-Chi mentioned in the movie, like if you brought her back, like would that really change anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what if season 2 idea? You're welcome, Marvel.
What if Ying Li didn't die?
All right,
What
Marvel,
if
credit
Shang-Chi
me,
died
later.
instead? Let's see that. What would happen if Shang-Chi died and she didn't die? It's like, whoa, okay.
Okay.
Marvel's
Oh,
taking
well.
notes. What if season 2?
I demand 10% cut of the episode, please.
Marvel, I will send you my information.
You'll be getting lost. You'll end up having to sue them just like Scarlett Johansson did.
Okay, well that's
Jesus.
a podcast
All
for
right.
another time.
But in all
Right
seriousness,
now, let's keep it PG.
but I do like how this movie, in a way, kind of was a red herring with Talo, like with the green, like because social media can keep people and fans talking. You'd think she's an Iron Fist, but it's like nope, something else entirely. So it's like it's a good red herring in a way.
I was one of those people. I literally was like, she's an Iron Fist. I was one of those people who were like, yep, she's an Iron Fist. Iron Fist.
I mean, like the way Talo is like built up, like you would think like if you're more familiar with Marvel lore, it's like is that supposed to become one with a different name?
Yeah.
Especially with a dragon called the Great Protector. So
exactly.
But yeah, I really liked her. Wish we saw her a bit more, but happy with what we got.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't really have much to say beyond that. To be honest with you, I liked her, and there's nothing like I wish we got more.
There's not more to add on because she wasn't in it that much, like on screen.
All right. So does Daniel? Anyone else have anything to say besides?
Everyone's pretty much said that's already said about like Fala Chen's character.
Yeah.
I bought the chemistry with her and Tony.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was definitely a plus. Their chemistry was really well done. For the amount of time they spent together on screen, though, what we've seen. But
I'm glad that they showed what like more than what than they would have originally. Like we didn't need to see like the little family get-togethers and the little powwows. Like that could have been a situation where they would have just told us instead of showing us.
Yeah.
But like, definitely, it lent itself to like they really do love each other.
Yeah. That helped the Mandarin. It helped.
Yeah.
It helped with Wenwu's, his motivation.
Yeah, and his relatability as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we'll just move on to my opinion, the biggest comeback ever. This is literally the biggest comeback in the MCU I've ever seen. Trevor Slattery played by Ben motherfucking Kingsley, dude. Okay. The thing is, like, I never really watched One True King or All Hail the King.
All Hail the King.
All Hail the King.
Yeah, I never watched All Hail the King until I saw it on Disney Plus because like my dumbass didn't think to bootleg all of these because
That's why they added them.
Exactly. Yes.
I honestly never thought that we would see this character like again pop up in a Marvel movie.
Right.
But then when
honestly,
Disney Plus, when Disney Plus put on that one shot, I was like, "Are you trying to tell me something?" I'm like,
They couldn't have bring it. They didn't really need to bring it back, but I'm just happy they did. So sorry.
I thought if he was gonna movie, we were gonna see him die, and that was gonna be the end of it because of the whole the whole Mandarin doesn't deep fakes. You're coming and you're gonna die.
Yeah. So after watching All Hail the King, which I love those, and I said this because we watched them after we watched the movie as well. I wish Marvel did more of those one shots. I think they're brilliant in my opinion. But after seeing that and obviously seeing that ending of the agent, the documentarian being one of Wenwu's goons, because he breaks him out of prison and all that stuff. Yeah, man, I was really happy that they brought him back and basically be like, oh yeah, he's literally been here the entire time. We were just saving him just for a special occasion. And him actually having a decent role to the plot. I didn't expect that either, because he's the only one that can understand the one of the creatures that.
Yeah. I thought I was hallucinating.
Yeah,
you're not on drugs anymore, and you're hallucinating.
Yeah, and it's just I'm very used to Ben Kingsley being in very serious roles.
Yeah.
But he's so funny. He's so funny.
I think I read it in an interview somewhere. He liked being Trevor Slattery just because it was a break from being villains or being serious all the time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he you can basically see he was definitely having fun. So much fun doing this role. So much fun.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes was real monkeys and not people.
It's it's him being it's the referee. It's of the soccer. I think
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
were playing soccer. He's like offside.
And then
Even
and then the fact that like during the action you think he died, but no, he's just been playing dead this entire time.
It's I'm not dead, you bloody idiot.
Yeah, I think he's funnier than Awkwafina in my opinion, because like there's some of his punchlines and his comedic timing is so good that like I'm just like, dude.
It's also his delivery.
His delivery. Oh my god, man! Literally, I was crying in the theater because I was laughing so hard. But yeah, man, I'm because like they didn't need to bring him back. Like they could just ignore him after the one shots, But I'm happy that they didn't forget and took the opportunity to bring him back. And and for people who haven't watched the one shots yet, I recommend watching it. It's really fun and it's really good, especially when he's like, they ask him, hey, can you do the voice? And he's like, you'll never see me coming. Like he does that shit again. So good.
I survived my execution because I did Shakespeare and they liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's two other moments that it's kind of understated, but I laughed. It's when they it's when they enter the land and they see the flying birds. I don't know it's the name it's of the birds, but
they're fan hungs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so when he saw the birds and he goes
what the hell, those birds on fire.
Yeah.
Birds on fire.
and then he hears more like, oh, okay, it's common here. And then and then also too
the horses,
horse creature.
The Keelans.
Yes, and then he goes, that's a weird looking horse.
It's actually closer to a deer, or a mongoose than a horse, but I'm just being technical here.
Whoa.
No, yeah, I get it. But
yeah, man.
And also something else I want to point out. He keeps the so far in Phase 4, he keeps the tradition going of having to mention Tony Stark / Iron Man. He continues that because WandaVision had the Stark commercial. Falcon and Soldier, first episode, it's with the banker saying, so how much did Tony pay you and blah blah. Loki, he's had enough. It's of he's had enough. It's of men in suits having to tell him what to do.
And his body spray.
Yeah, his body spray. Then Black Widow, Yelena is saying to Nat, Tony Stark, her thing with Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Trevor, he goes, I got locked up by Iron Man. So he kept on that tradition of having to mention
here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, anyone, Chris, you have anything to say on Trevor, on good old Trevor?
I didn't see his appearance coming, honestly.
Neither did I.
Neither did I.
I did also not see that he would be almost to the very end of the movie as well. I thought he would be kind of cameoed in for a quick little, oh, you remember this guy? I don't know. A part of me was thinking about this character and his role with the others, because Simu and Awkwafina are both comedic characters within their own right, and they're currently on more of a dramatic downturn with the appearance of his sister, and then he comes in to play the funny man. And I was hoping that it wouldn't be a car full of funny people, and then the sister being there too. So I was a little cautious about that, but then he did splinter off and do his own thing with everybody else. So I was like, okay, cool. And then it makes it doesn't feel so like everybody's funny. Like I guess I would say I like that since the end. Yeah. It also surprises me, dude. He's 77. He looks great for 77.
He does. Yeah. Wow. Okay, I had no idea he was that old.
Surprising the shit out of him, man. But no, that's all. It's
that's all. Dan, do you have anything to say?
I mean, the only thing I have to say is where is he now after the events of this movie? Because we don't see him anywhere after what happened in Talo. We just probably assume that they let him go or
let him stay there.
Just let him stay. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just didn't go back. He's still in Talo still. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
Yeah,
at least
like
he's got
chopping up
Morris to keep him
there.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's teaching them all Hamlet and stuff. Like he's just doing
exactly. It's like you're gonna do theater for us, okay?
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess if that's not it, then I'll close it off. Yeah, I was so happy. I like because again he was on the press tour. So like if I didn't watch any of the press tour stuff. So if you watched the press tour stuff, you would have known he was in the movie.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with the J.K. Simmons. It's at the press tour. It's for Far From Home. Well, no. It was the red carpet. It's for Far From Home.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy that we got to see him again with a somewhat prominent role. I didn't expect it to be this prominent of a role, but like it was great. I thought it was so good. But yeah, so we'll just move on. But yeah, so like we'll talk about Shenron and Dark Shenron. But the Great Protector and the Dweller in Darkness. So for me, okay, I had to look this up. I did not know the Dweller in Darkness was an actual character for the most part. I think he's a Doctor Strange character. Yeah. From what I did my research. That's cool. I mean, listen, I like dragons. Dragons are cool. I remember throwback to Chris and Alec. You were there when I said that Fing Fang Foom was gonna be in this movie. And like he clearly wasn't.
His cousin did.
Yeah.
Fin Fan Foom also has just like a very problematic name, so it's like if it was gonna be him, they wouldn't say that's his name.
Yeah.
At first, I thought like the Great Protector was like a modern take on like Fing Fang Foom.
Maybe, yeah. That's what I kind of looked at it as. Even though like Fin Fang Foom's kind of a villain, but yeah. But I mean, I thought these were interesting. I mean, granted, like it's gonna go and play into like my theories for later. But yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I thought the Great Protector was a cool aspect. I mean, yeah, because dragons are an important aspect in Asian mythology and Asian culture, so it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, that was cool. The Soul Eaters. That was cool. The scale wall, that was cool. Yeah, these were just cool. Listen, they just wanted to do Dragon Ball, so we had to have Shang-Chi ride the Great Protector and shit. Like, and it was cool. And so yeah, those are my thoughts on that. It was just cool. Like it was just cool. It's good stuff.
Well, they did the dragon right for one. So the dragons, when it comes to whatever Asian nation, there's a very subtle difference. They have different number of digits per hand. Chinese dragons have 5 fingers. Koreans have 4. What is it? Yeah, Japanese dragons have 3. I think Vietnamese dragons also have 5. I don't remember. Then
I think so.
Yep. So, and for one thing, and even beyond that, the element the dragon represents is different per nation. So in Chinese, they represent water. So I think that was actually on the spot with that, the dragon symbolizing the element of water.
Okay, cool.
And also the fact that it's white, and which contrasts, the Dweller in Darkness is, I guess, black, symbolizes the concept of yin and yang. If you think about it, the light and shadow. Yeah, water being the element of life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the old philosophy.
That's actually a good. Yeah, that's actually a good. Yeah, that's actually a good analogy there.
Also, especially because the dragon is, again, as in Asian mysticism, is more of a god, like deity, while the Dweller in Darkness is basically a devil.
Yeah.
It's a demon, but yeah.
It's interesting the way they were able to kind of take a Doctor Strange villain and tie that in that way. They did a pretty good job. Yeah. Also, I do like the scene where the dragon, the Great Protector is fighting, like makes the water vortex around. I thought that was really cool. Again, when Shang-Chi kills the Dweller, that was really cool. Actually, like putting the rings inside him and freaking doing that bending shit. He was bending the rings out of it. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, these were. I just want to put them in here just because, like, I feel like they were, they were. I think they were pretty well executed, and for the most part, and adding the mysticism factor of the universe. So yeah,
I think the Great Protector is a Deus Ex Machina done right, though. If I'm honest.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like you build it up, and then it's like a Chekhov's gun when Ying mentions the exposition, but like, well, then where is this Protector? You don't see him. You don't see her. Well, her as a found out because the dragons are her. Yeah. And then turns out she's in the water.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's really good stuff. But yeah, anyone else have any thoughts on these two? Probably not, but I don't know. I just wanted to ask.
I have nothing to add except again, I sound like a broken record, but I'm excited for the MCU to delve into fantasy, and this was a step into fantasy. So.
Yeah. The Great Protector is probably going to come into my theories for later, for the theory section. But yeah, I just want to add them in here. But yeah, so we'll just move on. I guess so other characters, but like these small ones. But like, so I only have Razorfish, John, and the Death Dealer, the main Death Dealer. Anyone have any thoughts on these three characters? Is the last character slide I have.
Death Dealer should have did a bit more characterization. Like I can kind of understand why he's just the mysterious mentor, but I think they could have done something else with him.
Yeah. Alec, you were saying something?
Just a quick stuff for each one. It's Razor Fist. Best moment for him was, is that my car? Or
yeah,
that's my car.
BMW commercial.
Yeah. Oh my God, Marvel. But talk about ads. I thought it was also funny. It's like, yeah, I think we should both work together. And
yeah, that was great.
Except to him having to switch his blade for the dragon scale blade, I thought was so badass.
Yeah, that's true.
But the announcer of the club, Fight Club, Zhang, is that what
Zhang,
yeah. He's with the 10 rings now, and he showed the footage of it's if you call it Shang-Chi, a bus boy, everything like that. Also, one little thing, it's about the bus. It's the guy who took the bus video. I think that's the same guy from Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's what I was thinking too.
It is.
Spider-Man, do a flip.
A flip. He says do a flip. That's the same guy.
That's hilarious. Oh wow.
And so with the Death Dealer. Kind of a Taskmaster situation.
Kind of, yeah.
Visuals, but not used to its best potential. Just show. So that's it.
Yeah. I'll say this real quick. Like Razor Fist. I mean, the actor was Florian Munteanu. I mean, I was happy he was cast because I love him as Victor Drago in Creed 2. I mean, that man's scary and intimidating. But anything else, like I knew Razorfist. I was like, I didn't expect him to have a big role because he's a D-list character in the comics and it's kind of ridiculous. But I thought Florian did a good job. I'm happy he's getting more work, acting wise. That was great. And again, I was upset that he didn't get his other hand chopped off so we can have the double Razorfist to make it more accurate to the comics. So yeah, there's that. John was cool. I'm used to seeing this man as a Daily Show correspondent with Trevor Noah. I love this guy. He's great. So I was happy that he was in this movie as well, and being one of the comedic reliefs involving Xialing's character. And again, the Death Dealer, I agree with you. You need more characterization because he was just a silent killer, and that's really it. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about those. But anyone else want to say, Dan or Christian?
Well, Razor Fist, I'm hoping that we can see a little bit more of him in the future. I know the actor who said in an interview when he was asked where would you see this character in the future of the MCU, and he was talking about how in the comics he did have an encounter with Wolverine, so that would be something cool to see depending how soon the MCU adds mutants and the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
John's character was pretty cool, in the underground fight scene area, and then becoming the right hand man alongside with Xialing in the 10 Rings. And as for Death Dealer, I feel he was underused. They hyped him up in the trailers with in the fight scenes in the trailers, only to be off and swallowed by those soul eaters.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to think about it, and each of these characters have maybe give or take a couple minutes here, have roughly the same amount of screen time. Razor Fist probably has a little bit more just because, but when it comes to it all, Zhang has a lot more personality to it. Whereas for Razor Fist was supposed to give me this intimidating feeling of, oh shit. But I didn't feel that. All right, but then, but in Creed 2, I feel like I'm terrified of this guy because he could punch my head off without even trying.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I didn't really feel fear for Shang-Chi whenever he fought him. I was like, I know you can handle him, no problem. He
Yeah.
like a goon. Whereas Death Dealer, I agree where there needed to be something more. Because, like, for one, the character design is fantastic. This
incredible.
character looks insane. Like, this looks like I should be like, yeah, I feel more intimidated by Death Dealer. And then the fight out, leaving Macau showed, like, okay, Death Dealer doesn't play around, for one. Like, given in a second, would have killed you. But something was, like, also missing, too. Like, whenever they fought, there needed something else to be there. Some sort of, like, you're almost fighting like a mini boss. Like, oh, crap. All right, this is for real.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I wish they did something. There's something they needed to do with Death Dealer. I don't know. Is he still alive? Because like if he's
No,
back,
he got his soul sucked out. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay.
R.I.P.
he ain't coming back.
That's wasted in my opinion. But yeah, all right, yeah, we'll just move on now. If anyone doesn't have anything else to say. But yeah, so now we're gonna go to the part that you know, obviously I said this in every podcast, the part that Alec does not like to do. But we're gonna do theories now. Yeah, so obviously the first theory that I'm going to talk about, obviously, the first post credit scene. We'll talk about that one first. So the first post credit scene, so to describe it, we see, you know, Shang-Chi and Katy talking with Benedict Wong, who plays Wong, and
I can tell you kind of stumped yourself for a second there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and they're talking with when we get the surprise to see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel and Mark Ruffalo as I was so shocked that he was just Bruce Banner again. I thought the whole Professor Hulk thing was permanent.
And as for Carol Danvers, Brie Larson worked with Destin Daniel Cretton before, so she wasn't too surprising, all things considered.
Yeah, and they're just basically examining the rings because they're talking about how like they've never seen alien tech like this before, how like, you know, the energy signature is something they're not familiar with, especially with Captain Marvel, you know, seeing that like she's never even seen like an energy signature like that from her mass knowledge of, you know, the universe. And they zoom in and say that something is calling, like they're broadcasting a signal. So yeah,
are you saying Makulans?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm saying Makulans. So yeah, I also have conveniently a slide. So my theory with this is that they're probably introducing or gonna tease the whole Makulan race thing, which is inevitably where Fing Fang Foom comes from. I'm not saying we're gonna see Fing Fang Foom, but like we're gonna go probably see the Makulan race at some point. I don't know how. I don't know what Marvel movie they would even be in, but I think it's gonna happen.
I heard something from a friend that might help your theory. No, she was saying maybe the rings are forearms to humans, but they're traditional finger rings to the Makulans.
That would be sick. That would actually be sick. Okay, that makes Makulans. Okay.
But at the same time that means the Makulans are ginormous because, you know, this part of the human arm is if that is essentially a thumb to them, then yeah,
I mean, and the Makulans are basically kaiju, so like so it works. That's actually, I didn't think that. Wow, that actually makes sense, dude. We're gonna get Makulans, bro. Like that's gonna be sick.
So I have a question. Are they from a different universe or no?
They're from they're from like they're aliens, so like they're from another.
Yeah, they're from the Andromeda galaxy, so like far from our galaxy, so like
it's in the
completely alien, even to the Guardians in a way.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
In the movie, they never like explain where did Wenwu get like.
They never did.
No, I think that was intentional.
They just said that he just found it in a crater and just picked them up and like, I'm gonna put these on my arm, which is, I know it's kind of stupid, but
this turns me into a Super Saiyan minus the flight and longevity.
Exactly.
Fuck you, Genghis Khan. I'm gonna do your job better. even though historically he's technically Genghis Khan's subject, but that's a whole other thing. I'll save for later in the podcast.
Yeah, but because I remember there was a Marvel Comics event. I think it was either an All New, All Different or in Marvel Now, but like it was called on like Monsters Unleashed, where like a bunch of kaijus attack New York. I would love to see some shit like that, like in the MCU. That'd be pretty fun if the Makuans do come to Earth. That'd be sick.
Get Guillermo del Toro, and then we're gonna be set.
Yeah, put Guillermo del Toro. Or even better, even more theory. They could if they're gonna do something similar to that, they could maybe introduce Kid Kaiju, because I like that character a lot as well. Who's another Asian character who has a sketchbook that he can use to draw, and then like he can make kaiju out of his drawings. It's so cool. But Makuans, people, we're gonna get kaiju coming there, the MCU, and
I think my friend's comment just made Mikey like convinced even more that it's happening.
Dude, yes, that makes sense.
You fed the fire here, yeah.
Dude, that makes sense.
It's what I do.
But yeah. So any other thoughts on like this theory with the post-credit scene at all?
My guess was if it's not Makulan, it's probably Eternal Tech, just to tie it into the whole thing.
I would be kind of upset if that was a movie tie-in.
I mean, like I'm saying, it's just out there, and the other ones that. This doesn't relate to the rings, so I'll save that for the other theory then, or should I just say it right here?
I mean,
it relates to because the Netflix shows, as good as they are, they're not canon anymore, right? So
yeah,
I'm guessing Shang-Chi is how they're gonna reintroduce the Hand and Iron Fist. So
maybe.
I'm guessing Talos and Immortal. One of the 7 capital cities, and if that's the case,
and a potential recast
is the Great Protector. Is the Great Protector just a subspecies of whatever dragon Xiao is?
I don't know. That's
it
a
could
good
be possible.
question.
I don't like talking about the non-canonity of.
See, I mean, with the whole multiverse thing, they're still technically canon, more or less.
Yeah,
it's another timeline, I guess, thanks to Logan.
So so. Kaiju, Makuans, yes, I want it. So after them, I put the slide out of order, but I'm putting so now we're talking about the future of the Ten Rings now. With Xialing and that. So that post credits scene where basically like we've said it already, but like she's gonna be the head honcho of the. It was funny because she said Shang-Chi said that she was gonna dismantle the rings, but that's like, nah, I'm gonna take that shit over. Which, knowing her character, it makes sense. Like why she would do that. I'm just gonna say that the way they've treated the Ten Rings, as well as like again like the Mandarin as well, that man told the Mandarin, that Marvel again has beaten DC by making a better Ra's al Ghul and a better League of Assassins. Yes, and I'm very curious to see because again the Ten Rings are coming back, which again I love this side of the MCU, so I'm curious to see like how that's gonna entail going forward. And I agree with what Dan said earlier that like she could pop up pretty almost anywhere, not like Kang, but like could pop up almost anywhere in some movies, and I'm curious what that direction might be. But I'll just open up to you guys. What do you guys think about the Ten Rings going forward?
It kind of reminds me of when like Misa or Talia led the League of Shadows. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think they'll actively oppose the heroes, like the League did. They'll just be like they're just kind of there observing everything and taking info. But is there like I guess they'll be more of a wild card compared to like the straight up villains that Hydra was.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Anyone else have anything to say?
I just see them popping in and out here and there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Until their role becomes prominent, it'll be oh look, the Ten Rings kind of situation.
Oh look, the Ten Rings. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion because it's kind of left ambiguous as to what they're gonna do. And again, keep in mind they have been working in the shadows for over 1,000 years. So
at least the 13th century, if the historical flashback is anything to go by.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we'll just move on to that. So again, because we're gonna flash back a little bit to that Abomination Wong thing, right? Seeing that happen earlier. Yeah, we're getting the Thunderbolts. This is literally confirmation. We're getting the Thunderbolts now. I don't listen. I've been saying this almost every review that we've done. We are getting the Thunderbolts because that could
Abomination, John Walker as U.S. Agent, Yelena Belova, and now Taskmaster. That's a
and Taskmaster.
And in case you didn't know, the original actor who played like Abomination from the Tim Roth was in there for like, he wasn't credited, but he was there, and he's also confirmed to come back as Abomination for the She-Hulk series.
She-Hulk, which I'm extremely excited for. First off, the fact that he looks more like Abomination now in the comics, I love. Which they can say because like Abomination does, he does mutate and stuff in the comics, so it makes sense. I'm confirmed we're doing Thunderbolts now because, and I guess maybe Wong's a part of that because like we see him escort and Abomination to a sort of prison cell. And
I was gonna say just Wong just likes messing with things, but just because he feels like it,
or that too. That also could be as well.
Because like how he is in Doctor Strange, and then added this and Infinity Wars, like he just kind of does what he feels like.
Exactly, yeah.
At first, I was like, "What was he doing in an underground fighter ring? He must really need that like sandwich money."
Yeah, or he needs to just blow off some steam. He needs to blow off some steam.
It seems like Wong. It seems like something he enjoys, and like it's kind of like some type of R for him, or something like that. But speaking of like Abomination, so this is, I believe, the second longest bus ride for an MCU character. It's because the longest was Dr. Riva.
Yeah.
First Iron Man to Far From Home. With this, with Abomination, from
Incredible Hulk 2008 to Shang-Chi, which is 13 years.
Yeah, it's a 13-year long bus ride, is what it was. So
I think I do remember seeing Tim Roth in an interview somewhere. He's like, I kind of forgot I was in Hulk, and then they asked, and then I got a call from Disney. He's like, you want to be in She-Hulk?
That's hilarious. I mean, that would make sense.
So Wong took him out, and from the portal, it looked like it was some type of containment cage.
I was thinking the raft.
Yeah. A raft? It could be the raft. I don't know. I don't know what other prisons.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like at the end of Hulk passes him out to him, like use your Abomination, Ross.
Yeah.
We don't see him ever again.
Yeah, they even mentioned that in a one-shot to console him because the World Security Council wanted to put Abomination instead of Hulk on the team.
Yeah.
For bureaucratic reasons.
Yeah. So it could be the raft. It could. I remember there was one prison in I remember it was in Avengers with Mightiest Heroes where they put
the Cube.
The Cube. Yeah. It could be that, but listen, he exists now. They can put him on the Thunderbolts and make me happy. Hold on, we have a comment. Sarah, hey, you guys look like a group of people I know. Yes, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hope you're enjoying your vacation. I think.
No, she came back. She's literally here now.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, we'll see where this is gonna go. But also, were you guys getting some especially from this scene as well as the first post credit scene? Were you guys getting a little bit Illuminati vibes in there? Some Illuminati vibes, especially because
one of the cores is already dead. The other's not arrived yet, and the less said about Inhumans, the better.
That's true.
I can't say necessarily yet. I could see the inklings of it maybe kind of getting there, but I can't say I'm getting Illuminati vibes.
Yeah, I mean I don't know because I saw because Brie Larson and Hulk, I was like, I'm getting a little Illuminati stuff.
That's what I mean. Those inklings of we need to talk about this, guys.
I was gonna say the Avengers after Civil War, the Initiative arc, since Carol was on that team.
That's true. Yeah. Also, there's another comment here, real quick. He said, we were allowed to comment. Yeah, you were allowed to chat. It's open. It's an open space. This stuff.
Just at the tail end of this is when you finally reach out. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. Wait, whose point was who was talking? Alec?
No, actually, I had a quick question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, the timeline of the movie, it's random, but I just want to know its people's thoughts of this. So it's obviously post Endgame, based on her friend's comment about half a population aching to disappear, plus the post blip anxiety of its posters. It's on the apartment for Katie's apartment. But then seen here, it's in the post credits about Bruce. He's still in a sling. Plus, he looks older.
He did. He had some white hair going on.
Yeah, and that was makeup. That's not just Mark, but Ruffalo. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And then with Carol, her hair was grown out from Endgame. So with Endgame took place in October of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then Far From Home is in the summer of 2023. Of 24, I'm sorry. But with this movie, it's Katie's grandmother. It's when talking about her husband. It's mentioned it's the Day of the Dead. Now, when is Chinese the Day of the Dead?
Wait, hold on. This is only because Korea and China have a lot of overlapping holidays. I think it's in... hold on. I think it's in September. I'm gonna look up a second. Hold on.
It's on April.
Yeah.
Okay. So this maybe could take place in either 2024 or 2025?
No. It's definitely... it's in my head. It's everything is before Far From Home.
Oh, okay.
It could be before Far From Home because, like, No Way Home is supposed to continue where we left off from Far From Home.
It's Far From Home. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay. Okay, that was a good point. Yes. So, is there anything else that's anyone wanted to say?
Well, apart with the Bruce Banner being like Bruce Banner instead of Professor Hulk, I was wondering like how would they explain that? I mean, besides the fact that it was just a cameo and they probably didn't want to pay like too much money to like put Mark Ruffalo in like a CGI mocap suit just to like make him Hulk for a minute.
Yeah.
Probably like maybe they'll explain that like in the She-Hulk series.
That's what I'm guessing.
Gives the Hulkness to her or something.
And considering he's still wearing the cast, so his arm's probably permanently damaged from like the snapping, like the Infinity Gauntlet, bringing back everybody like from the blip.
Yeah, it's my head. It's my headcanon is that it's probably about like a month or two after Endgame.
Yeah, Alec. But back, by the way, because internet messed up a bit. But
fine.
Yeah, it's Day of the Dead is November 2nd.
Okay.
So this has to take place before Far From Home, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, is there anything else anyone wants to say about the Thunderbolts or the MCU or whatever? All right. We'll just move on. So, okay, the last thing is my last theory. Before we kind of like close out, but so Talo, City Another Dimension, was a dragon. This as we said it already, but like I gotta build this up because I know I'm right. It has to be right. This is a 7 capital city of heaven. They have to do this. Like it's okay. The thing is like I'm a huge Iron Fist fan. I like Iron Fist, but knowing the history of like the 7 capital city, they don't have to do Kunlun. They could do any other city, because I think that the other quote unquote the immortal weapons, which is what this team is, they're all just as interesting in my opinion, and they can add those to the Shang-Chi mythos in my opinion, without even having Iron Fist in my opinion.
Well, here's another credence to your theory, Mikey.
Yeah.
You know how the Iron Fist is almost always represented as fire?
Yeah, it's true.
So, and if Shang-Chi's water, then he's an antithesis to Kunlun. The cities could be rivals.
They could be rivals, and I mean, and in the exposition part where where Ying is explaining the history, she said that they did have several cities, 7 heavenly cities. Listen, it writes itself. It writes itself, people.
Well, here's also another thing. Shang-Chi's one of Shang-Chi's best miniseries was during Battle World after the 2015 Secret Worlds, and that domain,
Yeah.
his domain was Kunlun. So
That's true.
very fantastic miniseries, by the way. It's one of my favorites.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like Ta Lo's is a new creation, so like they could either take an existing city that's already in the comics out and just replace it, which is fine. But yeah, I'm curious to see, like, this could be a way to maybe bring Iron Fist back or not, but either or, because I like have any of you guys have read the Immortal Iron Fist? I know Alec has, because I was in the comics, but like it's the Immortal Iron Fist run or any of like the Immortal Weapon stuff?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I know you have. So no, I guess no one else has.
No.
Which is fine. But yeah, so basically, like, to just give just a summary, it's just the 7 heavenly cities are just these cities that exist like outside of our dimension and come into our dimension like in a specific period of time, and they all have their own representative, which are like called like their immortal weapons. So Kunlun has Iron Fist, and it depends on each city. And what's it called? Kunlun has Xiao, the Undying, which is their dragon. So I don't know, because I feel like you can't do the you could, but like I feel like the Iron Fist mythos, especially with like the immortal weapons, is pretty important to like the eastern side of the world in the MCU. So I feel like you need to do this at some point. And if you want to recast Iron Fist, go ahead. But like this has to be addressed. It's very important, in my opinion. So yeah. Listen, I just want to see Dog Brother #1 and Fat Cobra in live action. That's all I want to see. Because they're great. But yeah, hopefully they'll do this. I hope so. If this wasn't, they've opened the gate to maybe add this in, because I think it's very important. Yeah. So if any other thoughts,
I've got one more thing then before we close this out, because Yooni did mention this a couple of times. Yooni, you wanted to make certain points about representation, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I could add that in right now if you want to start that part of the thing. Yeah, sure, why not? So we can just do that right now.
Oh, I didn't know that was actually next.
Yeah, no, it was next.
Oh, wow, look at that. You can go ahead, you.
Yeah, you can.
No, I thought Dan was
to each other in this podcast. I like it.
Well, because like it's only me and Dan that can talk about this part, so that's why.
Yeah.
Listen, speak your piece, preach, do whatever you want. Yeah, speak your piece, do whatever you want.
This movie I really needed back in high school and just growing up. I mean, everyone here in S.H.I.E.L.D. knows about my whole thing about Iron Fist. I think it was because that's the only one that the other people around me would not say, oh, look, the Asian likes the Asian. At least if it's the white guy that likes Kung Fu, maybe I'll get some street cred or something. So, and even before that, Shang-Chi, I guess, didn't really stick with me because I felt like he was just a Bruce Lee clone that was around everywhere. And then I didn't really like him until Hickman's Avengers run, which is fantastic, by the way, but where he's finally recruited to be an Avenger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see this.
It's really good.
We see
it's
this
really
movie.
Good.
Yeah, it really is. But and then the Secret World, and then a Secret Wars miniseries series during Battle World, and then this movie honestly isn't really that faithful to Shang-Chi, other than like key details about him being the son of a criminal warlord. Pretty much everything else is almost done. Like it's basically pulled out of thin air, almost like parts of Black Panther that you didn't see in the comics before, like how technologically like visible Wakanda is and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned before, since Shang-Chi is also a 1.5 Gen Asian American, which is someone who came to America at a very young age and then just might as well be an unborn American, but really isn't until a citizenship test proved otherwise. So I really needed this movie, like even with my martial arts training and the name pronunciation and going to Korea and being treated like an outsider, even though I'm still one of them, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
I really needed this. I really needed this movie, and yes, it's Chinese, but it's kind of like how Black Panther is, because Wakanda's located in East Africa. I kind of argue it's like an East African lens. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. That's just my opinion. So it's like telling the story of Asian diaspora through the lens of a Chinese American. And the movie's directed by on the Asian diaspora, even though he's Chinese American. But yeah, like I really needed this movie. It's I know it's probably not the best, objectively the best, but for me it is just because of that relatability. And this is something I really needed because I actually kind of cried like during the end because I loved it and I loved the representation. I finally felt it. And now Shang-Chi is like, I mean, you guys probably figured this out, but yeah, Iron Fist is out. Shang-Chi is my favorite, so I really needed this. I really needed this movie, and yeah, it's like Simu Liu said, we are proudly, unapologetically, and no way other way, we are Asian. And thank you guys for letting me just go on this little heart-to-heart thing.
Yeah, this is no problem. Of course.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, you're up, bro. You got it.
Well, unlike Yooni, growing up, I was like born in the States, born and raised in Northeast Philly, but I too felt like an outsider. Like back in high school, it was kind of hard like making friends because there's one group of friends saying I was too Asian, and then another group of like friends that are Asian but I didn't fit in because they thought I wasn't Asian enough.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
I was basically in the middle, and also though like growing up, I did like watch like the 90s shows like the X-Men, like the Spider-Man, and then there's the Justice League animated series. But I felt like there wasn't really a superhero that resembled like my look.
Yeah.
And comic books, like of course in the 70s, like Shang-Chi was created for like the cultural trend of like kung fu and martial arts.
Yeah.
So it looked like they're kind of a little bit outdated because from like my research of them, those comics seem like they were written in the eyes of a white person.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like that's the whole thing is like he's son of Manchu.
Yeah. So like since like they announced like they were making this movie, I felt like what Marvel's been doing besides with the modern comics like now run by like Xialing Young, it looks like they're now like not retooling. They were like bring back the character, the master of kung fu Shang-Chi in a new light, rebuilding him from scratch in a new era, in a new time, in modern time. And I'm here for it. Overall, this movie was definitely needed. I needed this movie.
Yeah.
This, like, in words, it's a revelation to not only like have like a main protagonist that you can relate to in so many ways, but in a way that it can make you feel that you can embrace who you are. You don't have to hate yourself or fear of your past. You have to embrace it so you can move forward in the future.
Exactly. I mentioned this to Dan. Remember the yin and yang symbol I told you yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Shang-Chi, for me and Dan at least, when he gets like masters the 10 rings in the final fight, that for us was the crux of like being an Asian American. Home and heritage, past and present, yin yang, that all together. That's why like I think for me that it hit us that hardly. Like we don't have to be embarrassed of being Asian or like not being fitting in with a certain criteria of being Asian. It's just who we are. Home and heritage, that's who we are. And we finally have someone on screen that not only we can relate to, but also in a way resembles us.
Mm-hmm.
Asian and proud, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Damn straight.
And now after this movie, you probably already guessed this right now, but Shang-Chi is now officially on my top 5.
Yeah.
On my top.
He's just straight up number 1 for me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna be cosplaying as that character a lot more often now.
For sure.
This might. I don't cosplay as often as Dan or like everyone else, but I might start if I'm gonna start doing it. It's just gonna be Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Word. I mean, I understand like again because like the importance of this movie for the the AAPI community, because it's the same thing with me when Black Panther came out. Like that movie was the importance of that movie, what that movie meant to not just like African American culture, but just Black culture just in general was just extremely important. And having a character that looks like you is a big deal. So I completely understand. And the thing is like, and it's funny because like even though like I'm not Asian, obviously, but like I I'm from a first generation born African in America, so like I understand.
So
if you're
you're a 1.52 technically.
Basically, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I understood some of the situations that you guys mentioned within like the Shang-Chi movie as well. Like I got it because some of the stuff I've experienced as well as a black, as a black person in America. So I understood it. Yeah, but like I understand. Yeah, it's this movie was definitely needed. These movies like this are needed, like, and it's a really big deal to come out. So I completely understand. So I just wanted to add that to what y'all said.
Actually, Mikey,
yeah.
remember,
So obviously,
remember when we saw Black Panther and you were telling me like it reminds you of your heritage when you saw like that. I think that chant or like dance as they lead to the waterfall to have that fight, and you're saying it reminds you of home. That's exactly how I felt when we got to Talo and you see like the mythical creatures because Korea and China are geographically linked and we have the same identical mythical creatures with like different names because different languages. It was like, for me, it was like reading an old folk tale from Korea again. That's why, like, I think that's also why I loved it so much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I completely forgot I said that. Yeah, I get it. See, we're clicking. All right, but yeah. So obviously, now we're because I know like Chris gotta go and y'all I have to send y'all on your way. But I gotta get our
It's but
final thoughts and verdicts. So what would you give Shang-Chi out of 10 people? So who wants to go first?
Shit.
You okay, Chris?
I didn't know this was gonna be asked of me, but
I mean,
to be honest,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say a 9 out of 10 on the out of 10 scale. It's on par with Iron Man 1 and Black Panther for me. Even though it's my favorite, but yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. All right.
I definitely give it like a 9 or 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. All right. Chris, you're gonna go last because you're struggling. But like Alec, what would you give this?
8.5. It super appeals to me because of the fantasy elements to it. So.
Okay.
So, like, I need you guys to understand something first because I don't want you to think it's harsh. I just want you to understand that I have seen over 1,000 movies at this point, and
no, I've heard the stories from Vince.
So, like, I noticed that there are things that pull me away, but it's more as this movie operates as a film, not so much as a Marvel movie. It's just some basic things where I start to like it stands out and I'm like, this is a little wonky for me. And it doesn't feel it's not a failure of a movie for sure. And if I had to give this thing a score, if I had to give Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings a score, I would give it a very common score that I give, which is a 6.5 out of 10. It's not entirely bad. It's not entirely there. I think if anything, it's an origin story. So you're going to have to deal with you need to know where the history comes from, characters around him. That way, when we do have a setup movie or a sequel, you already know where he came from. You already know what's going on. And we can get into the actual character. So I still recommend it. It's just me being a film finicky person. That's all.
Okay, no, it's respectable. I can understand that. For me, I like this movie. I love this movie. From as a film, I think it's well done. Characterization's well done. As a martial arts film fan, I said that was gonna make or break the movie for me. If the fights were trash, I was not going to like this movie. And I enjoyed them, and then as well as expanding the Eastern side, the Eastern mysticism side of the MCU, because I've been waiting for this for a while, because obviously Iron Fist failed to do that.
Imagine how me and Dan felt. It's our culture. And
exactly.
Arts.
Exactly.
Not embarrassed to say I practice it and be stereotyped. It's my culture. I'm proud of it now, or at least this movie gave me the courage to say that.
Word.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. Is it better than Black Panther though? That's the real scale here.
I said it's on equal par, so
it's on equal parts, or it's almost there for me.
But because there's a difference though, you know.
Yeah.
Some things hit more from home for you than it would somebody else.
Exactly. But I would give this probably an 8.5. I really fucked with this movie. It's just honestly also on my top 5 best favorite Marvel films of all time. I love this film. So that's how I'd give it with my score. Also, there's a comment, and this person said, want to say this was an awesome podcast and can't wait for thank you so much for sticking around for almost 2.5 hours
listening to us talk.
Yeah, we appreciate it. But yeah, this movie is not 8.5 out of 10 for me. People gotta watch it. Like it's worth watching in my opinion. There was someone in the theater, story time, who when who was sitting behind us, and then she said, "Oh wait, I was watching. I was falling asleep for the most part of it. I give this a 4 out of 10." And I was just like, I literally called it like, "You're uncultured. Stop it." Like I literally like, "You're uncultured. Stop it." Like that's not even fair. Like
movies suck because I fell asleep.
Yeah,
bro, it's not the movie's fault.
Yeah, just take the 5 hour. It's energy.
Unless it's Transformers 4, in which I did fall asleep. That sucks.
Fair enough.
Okay,
that's a podcast for another time.
We are never talking about Transformers 4.
What even is that movie? I don't even know what Transformers 4 is. But
Transformers. Say.
This gets the cosign. This gets the student seal of approval. Like we recommend watch this movie, and I'm so excited to see what goes forward with these characters and like this side of the Marvel universe now. Like I'm so excited. So I guess I'll just close it out. So thank you guys. Thanks to all of you guys for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. I know this was we tried doing this before, but it just didn't work out. So now we're like we did it, right when the movie has been out. So I appreciate it.
Word.
And hopefully I don't know what next we're gonna review because there's too much shit coming out. Hopefully we'll maybe talk about some other shit in the future, probably all of us. But so I'll just close it out. Thanks for the people that were watching this. We really appreciate this, or will watch this. We also appreciate it. If you want, we'll check out our other one-shot reviews, interviews, and panels in the playlist that I'll put in the corner somewhere. I think this is where it is. Man, we'll just cut out later. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for the invite, Mikey.
Yeah. Get on safe. Yes.